my introductions. You guys have been fine.
Show
Okay,
ratings go at 50%.
So, I mean, there are additional bannings from Red Horizon, Tides of Vengeance. I feel a couple critical cards were missed. I feel it was a disservice to miss Chasm Buster. It was a disservice to miss A Girl Like Any Other. I mean, all said and done, what I hope is this starts an era where we have better communication. We know, when these things are actually going to rotate back out again instead of surprise rotation. And like I said, I hope that Nashville doesn't get totally fucked because of this.
No, we're supposedly, according to them, we should have a greater number of attendance because the cards are easier to get.
Or shit.
We are hoping to at least get 25 people. That would be fantastic. We are a one-day event. It's $25 at the door. Regardless of number, I'm going to make it 5 rounds. After 5 rounds, we all get an hour to eat. We get to come back, do tops, and be done.
One last thing I want to say before I pass the torch on to one of our other quiet guests is that long term, I think this is a good opportunity. It's an opportunity for people who haven't been playing. It's like getting 2 new sets in reality.
That is true.
People who haven't played are going to get 2 new sets. Short term, it's going to be very painful, especially for people in the old guard. People who are going to be mad because they tossed or sold their collections and now have to get them back.
Hi.
And it's kind of a bitter pill for me because, yeah, I'm already stocked with Tides of Vengeance, except for $30, I can get a set of everything for each character. $35. So that's a little bitter. But we'll see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? All right, who's next?
Let's go with Jesse because he's next on the screen for me.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm gonna I woke up this morning at 7 a.m. and I do my standard things every morning. I don't even get out of bed without having to check. I first look at my phone and figure out what's going on. This was the first thing I saw this morning. And it took me all day to process this. And I literally went through the acceptance wave of the 7 waves of acceptance throughout the period of the day. My first one was literally, I'm done. This is it. I'm done with this game. And then go through the day. You just kind of go through. You let it process. You read the opinions. You communicate with people. And all I'm gonna say is, I lost a lot of trust today in Jasco Games. That's what that's what I'm gonna say. That's what it feels like to me. I felt like I lost some trust in the game because 9 months ago you said the set's rotated to extended. We're keep moving forward. And now today it's back in my possession again, and I'm minus out of your leagues and other things. And let me tell you, even at $35, I am like, I have other things I can spend $35 on. That's if you want that's my thing. I am literally just accepted. I have my piles of commons and uncommons still. I will more than happily play with those and put them in my decks. And there's a few rares that I randomly have saved because I was going to play them in extended decks that I had ideas for.
I have all the rares that are banned.
Yeah.
Literally, those are the only rares I have left.
But today was a bitter pill. And it's going to take a few days to process. But still, there's a lot of things on top of this, like, that just, I don't know. Give me 2 weeks and I'll probably have a formed opinion. Maybe even a nice article be posted through Total Justice Gaming when I write a deep response to all this. But right now I'm still just staring at everything like, what the fuck?
All right, Kevin, you've been silent all day.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on you guys for being down on it because I feel bad, but I'm ecstatic about this change. I woke up this morning and looked at my phone. I got a text that said, "Go look at the state of the game." And since we're dropping f-bombs, I actually typed out, "Oh fuck," switched back to after the first paragraph, switched back to the state of the game, read the next one, put back in the message, "Oh fuck" again, and then went back and finished the state of the game. And I don't know if I ever sent that text or not, but I instantly started, like, my actual first reaction was just yesterday or just this weekend, I was talking to Sean about how, people think the game's gotten stagnant. I was talking to Ryan Field. He's kind of bored. He doesn't like anything he can do, and how we just need something new to come out. And then we get this giant, like, this clearly thought out band list. We get a couple characters axed, which I don't know. I didn't really have a, they were the S tier characters for a long time, even though I thought they were pretty balanced. I thought the format was still interesting. Not everyone shared that opinion with me. And now we have all these new cards, these new interactions that, despite trying to be the guy pushing extended every once in a while, I've never, like, this is a completely new situation for me. It's a completely new format because all of the promos are gone. Half the cards that I've heard people complain about, "Oh, I'm so sick of losing to When the Moon Comes Over the Mountain. I never want to play with that card in the format. Oh, I hate losing to just getting Divine Tribulation on turn 2." Like, they're gone, and we get to play with all of these new cards and all these new interactions that I think are just exciting and fabulous. It's terrible what's happening with your PTC, Joe. That sounds pretty bad. But I'm really excited to build decks, and I guess that's just all I'm thinking about.
All right. For me, I was like Jesse this morning. I read this morning, went, nope, I'm done. I can't believe this actually happened. I went through conversations with people. I've been talking basically nonstop. I had plans to go be an adult today and do adulting. Instead, I talked about UFS for the past 12 hours because I'm very invested in this game.
I have a full-time job and I did that.
Nice.
Me too.
Yeah.
We knew what I was doing.
But
I'll be right back. I'm still listening.
Yeah. But I've reached to the point after many conversations. I'm at a middle ground now. I'm not very upset and frustrated, with the minor exception of a few things, but nor am I incredibly happy. Injecting new cards into the format, yes, that needed to happen, and I just think it was the wrong way to go about it. The problem is there was no other option for them to do it this way right now, really. We'll get more into that later, but I don't know. I'm waiting for things to pan out. We'll see what happens. I like this community. There's a lot of people I want to play with, so I want to keep playing. So I'm just trying to stay neutral for now, and I want to make sure that everyone gets to talk and get their opinion tonight, including our special guest that we're going to have later tonight. But before we get to him, we've got a roundtable set of questions that are basically focused on talking about the parts of the state of the game, to be a little bit more specific in what we went over. First off, they talked about in the state of the game about the new potential speed of sets coming out. 1, do we think this is too fast? 2, do we think they can even do it? Sean?
Can we just completely call bullshit because they've never been able to get a set out quick?
I'm not convinced that Jasco Games will be able to release 6 sets a year. We are coming to the end of 2015, and we released 2. That's this many. I mean, in case you were wondering, if we go back to 2014, we released The Talent of Neomax.
Yep.
And 2 tins. So I'm going to call that 2.5. Okay?
Yeah.
On a hook?
Now, bear in mind that Neomax was already printed. We go back to 2013. where we released this many sets. 2. We go back to 2012. We released this many sets.
That's right. 2012 was Tides of Vengeance.
We go back to 2011. We released, I think, this many sets. And I believe 2010 was when we had Red Horizon. This many sets. I'm not convinced that the infrastructure is there to do 6 sets a year right now.
I mean, I would love for Jasco Games to prove me wrong. They prove all of us wrong, but do it.
I would think it'd be great if they released 6 sets a year. That's really good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I think 6 is too much. I think 4 is the highest if they can actually pull it off.
I wonder what 6 sets actually means. If that's like a mixture of tins and booster sets, or if some of them are going to be heavily on reprints or something, or if that means they're just going to be like how big were Neomax and King of Fighters? Like 108, I think, 99.
They were 108 card sets.
Yeah, if there's going to be 648 cards every year or something new added and cycled and rotated through the format that quickly.
I can imagine this is feasible if maybe they did some smaller sets like some other card games do with like their extra boosters where it's like a half set.
Mhm.
I imagine this is
Go ahead.
Jason in chat here saying there's going to be a lot of little sets and a few normal size ones.
Yeah. Yeah, Jasco Games Prez, maybe. Just maybe him.
It's probably a little bit more Chinese printer and boats and weather and tariffs. If we had a U.S. distributor, like they went directly through drive-through every single time. Yeah, I know.
Drive-through couldn't handle the number though.
Yeah, I don't think
They don't do
Drive is
boosters.
capable of handling the rarity and the shuffling and the packaging and
No,
I mean
they can't.
I've
But
looked at solving this problem and it's a tough one to tackle. You're talking even if you want to do it yourself, millions of dollars just to get started.
Yep.
Okay.
So I mean, if we, I think let's say that that sets are, maybe they'll do like a smaller license like Cowboy Bebop. Maybe we'll have a 50 card set, and then it'll come out 2 at a time with another 50 card set. I mean, I think that a pace like they had for the King of Fighters sets, I think that's believable and sustainable.
People bitched about that too though.
Oh
can't-
yeah,
can't
people
win for
complained,
losing.
but no one said it was like, oh man, Jasco Games could never sustain this pace.
It can't. It really can't. Like, good job. You can print 3 sets all at once, and you can print them to the maximum ability. But like, look at our current situation. They printed 2 sets together: Mega Man Rise of Masters and the Darkstalker set, and there are players who want in the game or want to buy more product, and the product doesn't exist because they didn't print enough. And we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs, waiting for reprints along with a new set. And it's like.
Jason just dropped a spoiler thing for me that I have to bring up in the chat. Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are planned to have 10 to 20 characters in it, in each set.
Wow.
I was actually releasing some fly from my throat there.
But
I was saving for a minute.
10 to 20 characters.
Wow.
That's huge.
That's ambitious.
We'll get to him soon enough after we get through these questions. He seems to want to loosen his lips and talk tonight, so I'm excited to get him on in a while. But we'll get through our questions.
Are you spoiling who our special guest is or something here, Matt Hughes?
He's spoiling it himself by talking nonstop in here. So everyone pay attention to that chat.
You should copy paste that chat into the Skype chat so we can know what's going on.
Dude, just
Go to
okay,
Twitch.
Sean, go to Twitch, and like it'll come up, and there's like a cog icon underneath the chat. Click on that, and one of the options is pop out. You can overlay it over Skype. That's what I have right now.
Yeah. And then just make sure for the video you don't have the video sound on, because then we'll all hear yourself over and over and over again.
Oh, I was just concerned about bandwidth. Sorry.
Ah.
I can do that. That makes sense. I
think
have
you
Time
can-
Warner after all.
Yeah,
can
and I think
close
most people
the-
know about the guest.
Yeah, you can
Um,
actually just close the stream window after you pop the chat out even.
My name does not give me away, by the way. All right, but we'll go to the next one, and I'm going to just ask this question and let it go because I'll be back in a second. Does everyone think it's a good or bad idea on the reinjection of Red Horizon and Tides of Vengeance, and how it will affect our metagame?
Oh man, I love these sessions on the news channels where it's like good idea, bad idea.
Good
I'm sorry,
idea.
it's good thing, bad thing.
Well, wasn't there like the Animaniacs thing where it was like good idea, bad idea? Like doing
Yeah.
like, all right. So I'll start with good idea. You've injected a brand new pile of cards into us that we played with for a long time previously. Bad idea. It's the same cards, and for some people,
He's not wrong.
Zing! All right, I guess I'll go. Good idea. Because, like I said earlier when I first talked about this, people who haven't played with these cards before, and we've grown, I think, substantially since, let's say, Gen Con. I know they did a shitload of demos and got a shitload of people to play. These are new sets for these people. I mean, we may have been playing for Red Horizon for the last 5 years, but they haven't. Bad idea. We've been playing with Red Horizon for 5 years.
soon to
Good
be
idea.
6.
Making your game more like Pokemon, where you can find booster boxes in trash cans sometimes.
That was just mean.
I don't have a bad idea. That's just a great idea. I mean, no, there's Red Horizon boxes everywhere you look. They're just coming out of people's pores sometimes. You know, at tournaments. You know, they're candy now. You can get them to trick or treaters. Like, it's great. Tournament. Then you get all the packs, the pack wrappers. Those are good for promos. Like, you got everything you need.
I'm not convinced giving children copies of Sweet Nothings is a good idea. Chris Hansen might come pay a visit to my house. So Janela, good idea, bad idea.
They're both horrible.
There we have it, folks.
I've looked at those cards enough. We need to move on.
For me,
It's fair. I didn't have a bad idea. He didn't have a good idea. It balances out.
Oh,
like,
our fact checkers do have a correction. We've been playing with Red Horizon for 4 years.
Oh,
but I don't know. I feel they banned a lot of the problem cards.
no, I have an original Sweet Nothing, copyright 2010. It's 2015. We've been playing with Red Horizon for 5 years.
It took 2 years to produce, though.
Hey, we
Yeah,
didn't miss
yeah.
critical banning. We did forget Ever Hopeful.
There are answers for Ever Hopeful in Red Horizon.
We
We
Damn,
banned one of them.
We banned one, but there's still
Thank
you are not alone.
Jesus.
That's something the forums missed. You are not
I do
alone,
not-
folks.
I do not want Felicia having rebirth in her staging area. No.
If it
I
didn't
gotta be
have,
able to fight back.
if that card had no symbols that matched Ever Hopeful, I would be completely argumentative to the fact that that card should exist. But because it has water, I am like,
I think
okay, we can't.
It
let
got
the-
made. It got made in my book when Life and Water weren't two of the 3 best symbols in the game. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we're not worrying about that.
But so with a lot of the biggest cards from Red Horizon Tides of Vengeance banned, there's a few outliers. Into the Sunset, Chasm Buster, and then there's a lot of other really good ones that I listed on Facebook earlier today that I can deal with them. I don't want to, but I can deal with them. So I agree with what was said earlier. For newer players that haven't played these cards, this is gonna be an awesome and fun ride for you guys.
Yeah.
For us that are
Do
done
not
with these
buy
cards,
Vespera starters. They are almost worthless.
like,
Just gonna say that for a fact.
but I'll deal with them. But the biggest one I think is actually Spinning Necro Driver. I liked
Yeah,
I liked
your
my
assets,
assets
kid.
being fun. I liked playing with them. I just built a deck with for Jeff with like 11 assets in it. He's gonna be really sad now.
You know, he's gonna be really sad about
Hmm.
Sting Kick.
Oh yeah. Snake Man's dead. Snake Man's dead. Rip in pieces.
Silver Bullet.
The dream is
God.
dead. He will
No, it's
finally
not.
stop playing Snake Man. We've already discussed it.
You can't even fighting is one to stop it. You can't even oh god, you can auto your league revoke now. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's not dead.
Oh, out of your league. I missed that card. I was saying to Kevin the other day, sure do miss out of your league. I mean, there are some cards I
I
sure
missed
did
mine.
miss.
Yeah.
I miss mine out of your leagues. That's what I miss.
Like,
RochesterCCG.com.
Talk.
I'm
It's gonna be trade in for. I'm not paying cash for them.
gonna happy
The big
for
guys for the-
perfect
The
accuracy.
T geysers not playing cash for those. Sorry.
Uh-oh, someone broke the stream.
Is the stream
I
okay?
don't think so. I think it's fine.
Rip.
Jesse's face is broken.
Jesse's
Brody
face
Roberts
is frozen.
I am.
Weird.
Oh.
Looks fine to me.
Stream's fine. I think it just broke for Brody Wan
Okay.
and Jesse's face.
and Jesse's face.
Sure. Whatever.
You failed us all, Brody Wan.
Well, Jesse has no face. I think why don't we move on to the next question?
Specifically thoughts on the character bands, Skullman and Gemini Man.
They
Well,
killed
as I
your
said,
Day one.
They killed my babies.
All of your babies. I didn't even get to play
Want to
with
hold up?
them.
Want to hold up your babies there, Sean?
My babies.
Yeah, I don't really know exactly the motivation behind these characters. I mean, they've been like anytime you've had a tier list, they've been on the S tier since day one. They surprisingly, in my book, they haven't completely they haven't dominated at all. I think. I mean, they won 2 events recently, the 2K and UK Nationals. But there have been several events where none of them top 8'd. There have been several events where they were knocked out in every round of the top 8 when they did. I mean, diversity exists, and they weren't even
Really
they
diversified.
weren't even that heavy played. I thought.
The only time that like Skullman was Gemini Bunch was at Worlds because everyone wanted to do that golden ticket reprogramming build. Like there was
Not even everybody was playing it.
A character that I'm very sad was missed.
Which one?
Kim.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Kim.
Yeah.
Kim can play
'cause
spinning
I
Nectar
love
Driver.
having the same thing happen to me every turn.
He doesn't. It's
Yeah.
not the same thing every turn. It's just the same thing 16 times in the appropriate turn. You beat Kim by just having him not draw attacks.
Easy enough.
So if
Yeah,
if Giggles plays him,
Why do you think we built Giggles Kim? Never lose.
I mean, he never checks threes as it is. And if his deck has like 49 fives, he should be in great shape.
Yup.
Unbeatable.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with their assessment of Skullman. Skullman with Chasm Buster and Flash Lightning is
it's kind of a thing.
they match symbols, maybe they don't.
They do Cass.
And then Gemini Man with access to those same cards is also a little scary.
I don't know. Like
I mean, turn 2, it's a Chasm Buster. It's a what? 8 mid for 7 stun 2.
Sure.
Sounds about right. Give
you
up
could do
yet?
the same.
Red
You could do the
Flasher.
same thing with J-Tal Bane when you play it as your first attack.
Fair enough.
If I go J, I'm gonna. That was on play. Once I have my Chasm Busters in hand, I'm gonna play J-Tail Bane. We're just gonna be like, all right,
Yeah, man, it's the
I-
good old Mitsurugi days. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
you can play Rugi.
9 mid for 9.
The
Eat.
thing with Gemini Man is you go turn 2 Chasm Buster, response give up yet, Ice Slasher, and you are mega ultra dead for free. Like it's
Yeah.
no good.
I know. Like the fact of the matter is though, also, if you remove Shane Duckworth from Gemini Man has only topped one time without Shane Duckworth involved.
Really?
Really.
Kevin Broberg
Kevin
came
Broberg.
in second at a PTC.
He's Swiss
Played
champ
Evil Gem-
Rockford.
and Swiss champ from
He did?
Rochester.
He was undefeated Swiss champ
Yes.
in Rock.
I guess I have not looked at the Rockford ones because I was sick that week.
And
And then
like,
we didn't
Gemini
have,
Man's
and then there
made
was Thanksgiving and
appearances,
stuff.
but he's like he
And
hasn't gone.
he only narrowly lost to the Elbow in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
and the
that's-
Origins.
I guess there
TTC.
was Keenan a long while back. Like,
Okay, you're
I guess in reasonable history, like in recent history, like
Yeah, he's missed lately. I mean, he's like, but why? Like no one plays him. Like the Michigan PTC that I went to and
Shane,
that Sean
I'm
and I
gonna
went
name
to.
drop all I want. Sorry, just the direct.
So our
response.
fact checkers have returned with another bit of information. ATL Piglet has reminded us that Keenan Wag have both topped with Gemini Man.
okay.
And I did too
Yeah,
at the
like I said.
Origins.
You
PTC
were
with
the
that
one
people.
I was
And
counting.
Rochester.
I've done it twice.
Yeah.
Joe Tonello,
got
you've been
it.
kind of quiet. What do you think about the character bans?
I think I had to go tell a child that he can't play his deck next week.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That was not a good question to ask. I'm a dick. Sorry.
No, you're fine, John.
Yeah.
But
Let's move on to a different question.
yeah.
Get
Um, thoughts on some of the Red Horizon bands? Like, there's the obviously good ones: Piercing Howl, Divine Trib. Literally all of Vespera's support except for Stink Kick, basically.
Whoa, dude, my not over yet into reverse spider uppercut tech is unbeatable. Tap target foundation.
But
Abe.
there are
Here's the
some
thing.
questionable ones.
For all my naysaying, I think that this is actually a pretty decent list. They did miss some stuff. I
Chasm
will
Buster.
agree with you. Necro Driver, Chasm Buster, even to a lesser degree, maybe Lunar Catapult.
I don't know.
Well, at least nobody can play it every turn anymore. Oh wait, Basilio can.
So, but you know, for like I said, for all my naysaying and my very obvious disgruntledness against this entire scenario, which I am taking maybe a wee bit too personally, I am looking at the long run for my play group, and this is bringing Red Horizon back is a good thing for my play group because it's easier to get a hold of than say Mega Man or Darkstalkers. Like I said, I'll give credit where credit is due, and I will be happy to play devil's advocate. This is actually a very fair band out of, save for the ones we mentioned, out of Red Horizon 1 and 2.
I just want to fact check Shane Duckworth. Basilio San Juan Cacalote is actually the whale.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kakalote means giant whale. He's fighting the whale.
Take that, chat. We got you back.
All right. I'm gonna say some of the cards I'm kind of like. I actually with you banned every single merge character in the game now at this moment.
Skullman's
Ava.
What?
Ava.
Skull-
Definitely
Skullman's legal.
Skullman. You're right. Okay.
Mega Man,
Ava.
he's
The other
5
sp-
difficulty. You can merge him.
Ava.
Okay.
Kevin
Ava.
keeps saying Ava.
Abe, sure.
But you know
I
what I'm
wanna
really sad about?
play that deck then, please.
Roy's my boy is not back. I wanted to stack Roy's.
Oh, I know you did, Sean.
Yeah.
The only cards that kind of like give me a lot of like, I think there was a necessary, is I'm really kind of like Left 4 Dead. Like I understand 5 damage, 1 shot 5 damage, but like it's other if you're is that really the reason? 5 damage too much for this game anymore?
And what about, like, this is like dual persona, protect your
Lo-
master.
Let me build a dual persona Kim deck for you. It'll be great.
Eh.
It's already it sounds like you're just adding you're
adding
trying-
1
not
damage.
you're not getting there as quickly. I feel like you're just kind of masturbating by that point.
Like you're adding 1 damage to each of your kicks.
For free. Per copy.
I'm also reducing your damage by 2 or 3 when you're attacking my 28 giant ass.
Do a
Don't
Persona
Persona is
Lilith.
bad, guys.
So Lilith is a fun deck, and I would love to play it. It's fair. It was a very fair deck. That's what one of my friends got into the game with, actually, right before that original surprise rotation happened of those sets.
Surprise rotation.
But yeah, like Blazing
Yeah,
Storm.
I
a bunch
don't
of the ones
know.
make
I don't know
sense.
why they banned Ballistic Snapkick. That card was great.
Hush. Hush.
Lava
That was
Land,
already
Lava Land,
banned.
Ballistic Snapkick. Come on.
Shut your whore mouth.
Some of the
Do you want
random
me to tell you
ones.
why they banned
Alright.
Snap Kick?
I want to play Jeremy Ray
Keenan
Ballistic Snapkick.
Because
I do
Keenan
too.
Meadows still walks this earth.
I
I
really
mean,
Left
Keenan
4 Dead
Meadows
is snapped in
ballistic
half.
snap kick like OJ's glove. Too soon?
I mean,
I'm just not
I
sure
think,
what.
I think it's too old at this point.
Too old. Some people in the chat may not know who OJ
The chat's
Simpson
like,
is.
who's OJ? Orange juice?
Oh wow.
Orange Julius.
Ooh,
They're
those are
delicious.
good.
mm,
What's it in Orange Julius?
Google it.
If you come to the National PTC, I will personally take you to one.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
I don't know if this is a good or bad thing.
It is in the mall.
One of the bands I'm really glad made it through was Deadly Precision. There are a
Yes.
lot more ranged cards than there used to be.
yes.
Yeah, that I agree on.
Yeah,
Like, I guess people just hated Vesperin so much that they just said no to it completely. It's like Vespera, Entangle, Kalahantra, Eradicate, Paralyzing Touch, Left 4 Dead, Penance.
Well,
This
I mean,
Vespera
2 or 3 of those
was-
are character only bans, right? Just like
Yeah, but
why this
But
legal?
here's the thing: if Eradicate had not been banned, there's that random Data Foundation that would have actually have been relevant again. Because I would have played Eradicate as a 1x in my deck. Because you can go F, clear your non-reversal, put Eradicate into your card pool. You can't have it in your card pool because it's a Vespera only. It clears automatically. That was my
Well
only
played.
thing. I'm like,
Well played.
that was my.
Triggers
That was
Omnus
like,
Whistle. Triggers Omnus Whistle.
well, no, it helps the Bomb Man plan.
Yeah.
It was me and Ryan Fields were discussing. We were looking for how to La Bamba again, and we're like, well, with all this stuff back, we're almost there. And like, we still have enough clear cards. I'm like, and the only character only reversal that would had a chance of showing up again was Eradicate, and it's gone now, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, yeah, I just think of this as like all new cards basically, and yeah, they took some of the cards that were originally in the sets out, and I'm mostly happy that all of those cards are gone because, I mean, I'm kind of sick of like when I played Deadly Precision, it wasn't fun to win with Deadly Precision. You're just like, well, you attacked me. That was a bad idea. I'm gonna block for free.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I played a lot of Deadly Precision. I agree. It was like that.
I just thought of Thunk, guys.
Okay.
I know it's
So-
hard.
I know it doesn't happen that often.
what thunk
Um,
did you think?
and I'm hoping this maybe will reduce the salt about these cards coming back, especially so close to an event.
Mhm.
This wouldn't be the first time that Jasco Games has released a set very close to a major.
True.
yeah.
In fact, this is actually normal business practice for almost everybody else.
Yeah, but they're not new.
The only difference is it's a re-release. If we try to focus on a re-release, I think it's more sunshine and rainbows and less tornadoes.
Mm.
All right. The last thing here is we've already touched on a large part of this, but I want to go over it a little bit. Maybe some of the people in the chat can voice their thoughts on that. These changes and their effects on the community. We've already discussed the PTC. We don't need to go over that again.
Which, can I say one thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Despite my obvious rage and anger, I really do hope a lot of people come because I would
Yeah.
really love to have you guys there.
I hope so too.
I mean, like I said, I'm just mad because this really is just a too hard of a shifts so close.
Yeah.
And it just made my day if they waited said, no, this goes into effect the day after Nashville. Because that still gives plenty of time to be prepared for this. This gives like a month and I believe like what is it? 5 days? Is it like January 19th?
Like it's like a month and 2 weeks, roughly.
Yeah.
Worlds is the 15th through the 17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a month and a couple days. That would have been
Uh,
great, but like I said, despite my obvious anger at this, guys, it's mostly because I had to deal with parents all day because of kids, and I had to deal with my store owners. We were sitting there talking about, well, do we want to uphold this ban list? Do we not? And then Jason came down and said, no, you've got to. It's right before Worlds. People need to play test for the Worlds.
The worlds.
As like I said, as much as I'm angry at this, I really do hope a lot of you guys can come. I would love to see you guys.
I actually want to show up now for this event, but I don't have the ability to.
No, and I understand.
But
So,
the other
back-
big things like the effect on the singles market, which Sean could talk about, and players who sold their stuff. Like,
Actually, you see that little box right where I'm pointing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all my Red Horizon stuff right there. Every single
Heyo.
Ew!
yeah, I've got a pile of stuff scattered on the table. Basically, everything I want that I had before is still there except for the Natali stuff. So I'm not as hurt as much as I thought. It just means that after I just went through and told Jeff, hey, I don't need to borrow cards from you for a long time because I'll be able to get Indians on my own and I'll be set. And I've got these boxes of Mega Man and I'll be set. And now I turned around and told Tim this morning, hey, I got to borrow Zings for the next 6 months.
But you can't play Ever Hopeful and Zing. That's
Frickin'
boring.
Lamb, I love you.
So can you play Zing with Rain Flush? That's the important question for Matt Hughes.
Yes, you can.
Hey,
You know what else you can play with Rain Flush?
What?
Lunar Catapult.
Yes, you can. And Necro Drive. The first thing I did, as much as I was upset this
Splam?
morning, splam. The first thing I did this morning to calm myself down is build decks. Because no matter if I didn't have my cards or not, no matter how I feel, my favorite pastime to do in card games, besides just hanging out with my friends, is building decks. I don't play them a lot, but I still build them. I built 3 Rain Flush decks, one off of every symbol. Because it's my lover. Rain Flush. It's the ultimate drug. So, Sean, singles market.
It's never happened before, honestly. We did see quite a bit of early day trading in cards that used to be extended but are now not. One of the other stores?
Legendary Wolf had to actually put up cards. Like they had to
Yeah.
put up their Red Horizon cards.
Their images are missing on
Yeah.
a bunch of the cards still.
They just wanted to get them up.
I'm working out a way to see if I gotta work with my developers on this, but we are going to be having a sale on Red Horizon and Tides of Vengeance in order to hopefully get people those cards back that they need
Mhm.
on the not so expensive. So, your stores, Legendary Wolf, Rochester. I don't think there's any other serious contenders right now as far as online singles. We're there to support you. We have the cards, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you. I think we're gonna see some trending prices in Red Horizon and Tides of Vengeance, obviously going back up. There's going to be a much lower ceiling, I think, on the Tides of Vengeance cards compared to before because there are literally infinite quantities of them.
Yep.
All you got to do is have drive-through print them for you.
I think actually, this is my prediction, not owning a store, but certain select commons and uncommons that are really good, I think will end up being worth more because no one wants to spend $35 just to get a playset of an uncommon.
Yeah, like Gabrix Ultra Rares are going to be cheaper than Spinning Necro Drivers.
Like like Cannon Catapult. Those were going to be more expensive than most of his cards. They
Yeah.
already were. Towards the end.
Yeah. Like, I think any of Natali's stuff or Satoshi's stuff is actually not going to be worth much because they have a lot of good cards. So you go ahead and buy those. Gabrick stuff, Nathan Pruitt, you're welcome for me giving you those necro divers.
So I was thinking of sideboarding Alice against the Kim match and responding, naming How Whole Kitten. So every time he plays one of those, he loses 5 vitality.
Solid.
Ooh.
That seemed like a good plan.
Yep.
Good idea,
I
bad
have,
idea.
I have
Just
one
gonna-
Alice.
He's just gonna draw
Alright.
Hangatsuzen and Zero Shiki every time. You know that, right?
Well, if I was Giggles, I would have gotten the name of the card correct. So I actually think I said the Yuri attack, not the Kim attack. It's like that segment on John Oliver where it's like,
Actually,
this is Uruguay, but instead this wasn't Uruguay. This
Yeah, that was not Uruguay at all.
is.
actually, but I wonder. We actually have to confirm that because it's we're actually getting back to the point where there's name card effects. Do we get is UFS have the magic rule of if I describe the card to the best possible ability, do I win, or do I actually have to know the name? Do I get to use my phone to get the name and pronounce it correctly? What's the game plan, Coach?
Well, we'll wait to see what the Peanut Gallery says about this. As far as the singles market goes, anytime any singles are in higher demand, that's good for me. I think it's good for players. I mean, I can't speak for my competitors, but I noticed a significant lull after Gen Con. Things started to slow down. And things were pretty much awful until Black Friday, where everyone kind of went crazy. Oh, something just happened to the stream.
No, it didn't.
I'm watching it.
Thanks. I'm watching it too. It's just your
Anybody-
bandwidth issue.
Anybody having issues?
Yeah, Sean, you
Oh.
should probably just close the stream and only have the chat.
No, it like
Yeah.
opened up to a Skype window.
Whatever.
Oh, you maybe watched me switching to something.
Okay,
Okay,
makes sense now.
because
Sorry.
this is what's going to happen. We've basically gone through all the main questions. It is time for us to bring on our special guest because he's been waiting patiently,
What
feeding
about
us some
closing
info from the sign.
statements?
We're not closing. It's now
you
it's
can-
now all of us versus Jason.
You can close statements if you want to, Shauna Bro.
Yeah. Do you
Nah,
not
I'm
want to
good.
be on?
It's an open floor.
If anyone
Sure.
else, is there anyone who wants to get off at this point before we continue it for another 45 minutes or so?
I'm out.
You done?
Joe, thank you for joining us.
Do you have any statements you want to say before you go?
Well, just come to Nashville PTC. We'll see everybody next.
Yep.
We look at all the new spoilers and whatnot, and we are far less filled with rage.
Yep. Are
Just
we
That's
salt.
like the PTC, Joe.
Yeah.
I hope you have a good turnout.
have
I
fun?
really do hope to. I mean, like I said, guys, I'm upset clearly, but with good reason, and hopefully it won't affect my PTC turnout.
I think it'll be fine. I'm sorry what you had to go through. I'm sure Jason's sorry. We will talk to you at a later time after this is over, Joe.
Yeah, just give me a shout if you guys are still on after everything's over with.
Yep.
Okay.
Have a good night, Joe.
I
And now to welcome our special guests that I totally haven't given away.
I was really hoping for
That
the
is our
big-
special guest.
Yes,
Okay.
Kersplat, folks. No, bring back Kersplat.
Hey, beautiful.
Welcome, everyone. We have Kersplat, aka Jason Horonsky, our president.
There we go. I had to mute
You're
that.
not black.
What?
Oh yeah, the chat was okay. The chat was. You saw the Twitch
It's not
chat going.
president.
It is.
It's not black.
So, Jason, how are you doing this evening?
I didn't sleep last night.
Ah, I can understand with
that
all
can
of
ex-
this.
that can definitely explain, the 4:54 a.m. launch time of this state of the game.
And getting
Yeah.
messaged at 7 o'clock this morning.
There we go. Correct.
So, before we start throwing questions at you, I think, probably want to make some statements. Maybe respond to what we said, make some statements to the chat. Why don't you go ahead and talk first?
There's a lot of stuff said. So I guess first of all, I mean, you read the state of the game, so you know my initial thoughts of why I did everything. The day before the state of the game, we also made a big playtest announcement. Some of you guys know that, then we can talk about that now.
Oh, we
But,
forgot that in the first part.
I actually wanted to wait for. I didn't bring it
Yeah,
up.
we were
until it was
waiting.
on.
We were waiting for you. I wasn't sure how much of it we wanted to discuss.
Shane Duckworth.
Yes, this is Shane Duckworth in the background this time.
He's not back there.
As you can see, we're at the office. But anyway,
Yep.
so I guess that's 2 days ago now. I don't remember now since I didn't sleep. But
Yeah, I think it was Sunday night.
but we made a big announcement to our playtesters and our staff that we are no longer going to support tournament play if they're also staff or playtesting. This has come up because of a few different complaints from retailers and players alike. I've been actually getting a lot lately, and some major ones. Some of our biggest relationships with retailers have come to me by email and talked to me, and it's really disturbing to because we've worked with some of these retailers since we started. We were basically a retailer at that time too, right? So having the trust with the perspective of unfair advantage, seeing cards early, everything like that. We wanted to nip that one in the bud. So right now, playtesters that we had are still welcome to playtest, but I just assume you guys probably would prefer to play. So I said, go ahead and go play, and if you prefer to playtest instead, just message me and we'll take care of that. So that was the first kind of big change, and it's really a company decision. It's image decision
Like-
for Jasco Games, and it's
like-
necessary.
I understand it. Everything makes perfect sense.
It's something that should have been done for years upon years, and even during the Fantasy
Yes.
Flight days, I can attest to way too many people who were playtesters were continuously winning.
No, it's. I mean, since I started the company too, I wanted to eventually eradicate this. The problem is when I came on, I was by myself on design, and the people that I knew that could help me balance cards were people that have done really well in UFS. So since that trend started again from scratch that way, it's kind of just carried over and didn't ever really phase out like we would have liked it to. But now it's officially phased out, and we are doing internal testing heavily. We have a Vegas community. We have some very devoted people here that have given up their tournament play, including our staff. We have a few others that are volunteering still from playtest to help in the playtest process. But that was the first big bombshell that I had to. I've been making a lot of big, kind of stressful decisions lately for Jasco, and that was one of them. And it's really something that was necessary. Obviously, the next one is what do we do about the meta for Worlds? My biggest concern, and I've been thinking about this for weeks, is how do I handle a probable top 16 situation where there are maybe 9 competitive characters? And so I'm going to see ridiculous diversity in the top 16 situation, possibly going into the 30 to 31st or 35th place. And this is a scenario I really didn't want. And we had all planned on having at least one, probably 1.5 sets come out before Worlds. We've been waiting for them. We've all been waiting for them. Well, we have a huge bottleneck right now in production. Everything is basically sitting behind Mega Man the board game. Mega Man the board game comes on the boat on December 6th. So in 5 days, that clears out of the warehouse. We actually had a whole fiasco with that internally where they were upset for storing it so long because the 2 factories that produce it were not getting along. One of them makes the plastics, the other one makes the papers. Well, the plastics was like, we've been done for this long, and we want to start charging you warehousing, all this stuff, and the papers weren't done. And so that just stalled everything because the paper company also makes UFS. So now the boat's coming. UFS is going back into final production, and Battle for Power will be coming in. But we also want Indines to come in. We actually intended that to be out now. Indines, we're waiting on 3 pieces of artwork now from Level 99 Games. They've been kind of swamped too, and they ran the Exceed Kickstarter, and that's been really backed up. So now we have the situation where Indines could be done as soon as tomorrow, artwork wise, and then it's all tested and templated. But then how do we get it to the players, especially before Worlds? Well, the only option is drive-through, and that is not our favorite option. Drive-through is a really bad option for retail. It's a really bad option for distribution. The UK hates drive-through because it's very, very, very expensive to ship. And we have a growing community in Australia. They don't like drive-through. So this is a big problem. So I've been thinking, how do we get Indines into everyone's hands? How do we get a meta stir into everyone's hands for Worlds? Because we need it for Worlds. Because obviously, who knows what was going to come out at that point. We're still thinking sometime early next quarter, unless a miracle happens. And Indines could be printed, but it wouldn't be printed properly. It wouldn't be an actual release like it's supposed to be. So then that started the brainstorming process of, well, why did we rotate Red Horizon? And we came to the conclusion we rotated Red Horizon because of really powerful promotional cards, more than the actual set itself. Champion cards, promo cards, calling Jimmy Johns, and all those cards that were extremely powerful, spammy, all over the place. Plus, the new meta, knowing how the new meta works, we could go back and instead of seeing them as bans, we kind of saw it as a different way to release the set. And we got rid of cards that are NPE experiences. So we didn't want like Eradicate, not necessarily because it's a super powerful card, but because it's really, really degenerate for new players. Same thing for Vespera. A lot of those cards. Divine Trib, it's one of the few attacks that, even though it goes under our we like attacks to kill people guidelines, so that's why some of these are still here, it's also very defensive. It's a desperation that kills you. It's, I'm going to wall up and kill you late game. And you can kill early game with it, but that's not how people played the Trib. So that game, that obviously went, and we have the bans that were already there. But we got to a point where Red Horizon now and Tides of Vengeance are going to be using cards that people didn't use before. They're going to be using some of the same cards, but a lot of these interactions, even that we've been seeing and looking over through all the ban choices, are completely different than what they usually are. So we feel like it's a really good interaction, and honestly, it's not an escape button. It's not Fantasy Flight Games shoot from the hip and rotate 80% of the set. We're actually bringing cards back, which should bring more value to the set, because like we've been saying the whole time, Red Horizon's our core, and it's going to continually come back forever. I can't stress
So
that.
how long has the Red Horizon reprint idea been floating around? Like, when did that really start coming out of notice?
So we've been talking internally about Red Horizon reprint for a while. It's been seriously talked about for probably only about a month, but we've bounced the idea off of Tim. It's a lot of our testers and things don't like the idea, but from an internal point of view, we have to make our gut choice of what is the best thing for the game, and we have 4 choices. We have print Indines through drive-through. We have don't do anything. We have just make some bans and hope it works, and then we have bring back Red Horizon, or a part of one of the 2 sets. And that's the option we chose because at least it's exciting. It gives us a pseudo new set, and there's going to be a different Worlds environment that brand new players will potentially be able to compete in just as well as veterans, because it's very different.
I don't know. There's one new interaction that I think you overlooked that is too good. A lot of the forums has picked up on it.
We're talking about the Ryu.
You pick on someone your own size?
It's good. Is it really any different from giving your checks plus 1 or 2 or 3 consistently for the turn? Not really.
Well, I'm gonna find out Friday.
Yeah.
I've got the deck already together. I think the big issue I've had when playing Ryu before was a hand size issue, because it's not that it just gives you checks like +1/+2. It also says draw a card.
Well, yeah,
Static.
you just check a 5 instead of a 6.
Yeah, but so I just go, I get rolling 5s for the turn. I don't lose cards for his ability, so I can play more attacks on my kill turn.
Hopefully.
Well, attacking is typically how you win UFS.
Yep.
I don't know if you can tell from our bans, but that's exactly what we want to happen. Is we want people to attack, and the defense is going to be clever. It's not going to be so obvious, hopefully.
Now, I mean, I think something that's going to be really important, especially over the next couple of weeks as we prepare for Worlds, is I think, if local playgroups do find something that's bad, I think it's really important to report that to Jasco Games right away, because something could go disastrously wrong, possibly.
Yeah, what we're afraid of is not that, we overlooked something. It's that we overlooked something and someone wants to hide it because it's their super secret tech. And that happens all the time. We would much rather have a healthy environment and you martyr yourself one time to give away your super secret tech to see if it's really going to break the game. Because we're not going to go out on the forums and say, oh, look at this awesome interaction. You guys should all build this deck. We're going to look at it and say, yeah, we should probably look at this card. It's a problem. Or it isn't. It's, this is a contained situation or, whatever.
Find out. Jason, I got a question for you, and this will help with the numbers game right now because I know we're objectiving for the 10 releases of standard. Right now, we're currently sitting with the add edition of Red Horizon Tide. We're now at 9. Will Indians count to be number 10?
So Indians, it's a 40 card set, so it's probably going to be like a half set. If anything, we might say the tins plus that will like maybe 2 sets. Because the
I think it used to be an actual number because there's more or less if Indians is 10, as soon as Battle Power comes out, Red Horizon rotates. Like once one set already out of that's coming back. I just want to know where our numbers game is and what's the that's I think it needs to be that was the one thing that felt was missing.
Yeah, official statement because it is kind of a weird half set. I would say Red Horizon will be rotating the set after for Power.
Okay. There you go. That answers the question.
That is a big question people want to know.
Now, will we going forward have consistency when stuff's going away and coming back and whatnot?
Yeah. So again, the Red Horizon rotation, I never really wanted that to happen in the first place, but my advisors and the community kind of encouraged this to happen for the state of the game at the time. But I've always been wanting to aim towards the 10 set standard legality. That way, it's really obvious. 1 set in, 1 set out, 1 set in, 1 set out. Always 10. And after we do that for a while and we see how that many cards affect the meta, maybe we'll say, okay, maybe it needs to be 9 or maybe it needs to be 12. But at that point, at least it's a set number and we know how many cards need to be in standard at one time. Did that answer the question? Because at this point, I forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah, I think so.
Other questions for our president, and also the chat can speak up if they have questions. The chat seems to be concerned if Shane Duckworth is your prisoner.
He's not there. We already went over this.
He has his car, so.
Put the hood up, Shane. They won't notice you.
I should remember my questions that I had for you earlier, Jason. I think it was asking. I think you already went over it mostly already. Some of the more questionable ban changes. I want to know why Dual Persona was banned. Oh, we're doing this now.
Kim.
Yeah, Dual Persona is for Kim. It's for Lilith. It's for these any deck that's gonna hit you a million times. It's basically kind of the same problem we had with Gemini Man, right?
So with decks that are gonna attack a bunch? I thought that's what we wanted.
Well, we want decks that are gonna attack a bunch. We don't want decks to attack and every attack counts as 2. Because the damage just gets free pump and you don't have to commit anything for it. You don't have to do anything. It just happens.
So we're banning Snake Man next?
No, he's a character. We didn't ban Mike Lowe.
But I do have to say, design currently has been a little bit too free when it comes to abilities, and hopefully in the future we're going to be reining that back quite a bit.
I mean, that's a really old card.
Snake Man or?
No, Dual Persona.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's an old card. I thought we were still talking about characters.
No, Snake Man was a troll.
Let me look at the list, see what really stood out to me. Do you want to talk to Rebirth a little bit?
Okay, so Rebirth, this one, a lot of people, even we were thinking this is a great answer for Ever Hopeful, the card everyone hates right now. We don't like it either, by the way, the community, if you're watching this. Ever Hopeful is a necessary evil, unfortunately, because we have a very rapidly growing community, if you can't tell by how fast everything sells out. And giving a starter deck to a new player and then immediately telling them they can't play with it is not good. So we're going to have to live with it until at least we sell out of starter decks and fix it in the next print and put something else in there. That's the reality of that card, unfortunately. But Rebirth, what that card does if you're playing an Ever Hopeful deck is it allows you to always have Ever Hopeful, because it also works on your turn if you have it just as well as it works against Ever Hopeful. So you can either play Ever Hopeful with Rebirth, or you can have Rebirth against Ever Hopeful, but they're probably also playing Rebirth. So it doesn't really solve the problem. It just brings Rebirth back, or sorry, Ever Hopeful back more consistently all the time.
I can see that. A big one that the community here wants to know. Protect your master.
So
Protect your Maxima.
Yeah, protect your master. Yeah, exactly. It's an
Maxima
infinite
8-year.
block for the most part. It's kind of like our Deadly Precision.
So is Shanghai God of War. That's the exact same line of text.
Shanghai God of War is not from the reprinted cards, and it doesn't stop throws.
Yeah, but we just used the comment of.
Well, yeah, but we're bringing a new set back, and that's the other thing. That's kind of back on the directing an Empire statement. So we already have abilities that do this, and directing an Empire, for instance, has 2 new cards that are also coming out that are going to do something like that. So having directing the Empire and then the current cards plus more that are going to commit cards at the start of the turn is too much, because they're there for a reason, but they're not there to be 4 ofs or every symbol gets 2 of them or whatever. So it's okay to have an ability sometimes, but not the whole card pool can do this infinitely.
So you're banning Protect Your Master because Shanghai God of War exists? Or...
It's really, we don't want a bunch of infinite blocks, kind of like Deadly Precision, like we said. And Shanghai God of War isn't from the set that's really bad. We didn't really want to mess with the current standard format as much as what we can do to put this into a current standard format.
Plus, Shanghai God of War is poop.
It's not.
I don't know.
The card
It's
is
another
not
one of
excellent.
those. It's another one of those trolly things. But the fact of the matter is, what got brought up is the same line of text.
It's also also one thing about it, and I'm gonna be the defender of the throws
Mhm.
on this thing. It's repeative usable throw hate. There's if you like every other card that really they've kept in the meta to keep throw hate, is like you have Peaceful Messenger, Leaf Shield, which does have an interaction with that one card of Matt that he loves, and also
I never died in those cards.
Peaceful Messenger. There's the Omni blocks, but to make any card just if I block a throw, I take no damage, you're just pretty much you're bringing all these good throws back, and now you're just pretty much saying now this card's legal, and it's kind of a catch-22. So I think by letting throw hate that all exist right now be enough, I agree with it. I'm fine not Protect Your Master was a rules nightmare too. I explained to players that while I'm playing Raiden, if they activate it too early before I make it a throw, it doesn't stop it. That was always fun, but I don't want to go through that again. That's 20-minute conversations that don't need to exist anymore.
I guess the last one is Left 4 Dead.
So Left 4 Dead's very similar situation. So it's one of those cards that lets you pick up cards from your staging area, and there's a lot of dangerous interactions where you can loop attacks or loop a specific flip down foundation, and we didn't want anything that's going to loop. So it was more of a precautionary ban.
I mean, the only thing you can really loop there is if you're playing off of Fire, which is a weak symbol. I mean, Red Horizon
is so
good.
Yeah, right. Never mind. Okay. Fire has gotten better, but before this, it's been pretty weak. But looping Fire cards with Metal Man, who right now is a pretty weak character. I mean, you say you want to bring more characters playable to the meta. I think that's a good way to bring him to the forefront of the meta.
I mean, it's Okay, so it's not just Metal Man. So any character or ability that's going to be able to pull cards back over and over and over is going to have this, and then like
Yeah, well, I'm saying there aren't many attacks that are off of those symbols that can go face down into your staging area. The only thing other thing I can
Are
think
you worried
of.
about Aphidiophobia forever?
So you
Well-
have to play an attack, pick it up, replay it. Okay. We played through this before. Like
Yeah.
you play this. I do this already with Powerful Assassin on a completely different symbol. So
Like,
it's
Oh,
just
that's
you're giving
really
you're
freaking good.
I mean,
Well, it looks like our mad scientist in the chat is already working on it. Ryan Field wants to loop Chasm Busters on turn 1 with Metal Man and Left 4 Dead.
okay,
I mean, Middleman
Yeah.
can do it anyway. He just does it. It's his
Yeah.
job. It's just to loop things.
I know.
I won't lie. I'm actually the one card. There's actually one card on this that there's actually that nobody's talked about that I'm kind of surprised didn't make this list was Playboy. That there, I
Playboy-
said it.
Playboy
Yep.
was definitely the discussion. But
Yeah,
it's
I've got a
also-
list. That's the next discussion. Why did these cards not make it? Start with
certain
Playboy.
cards. Yeah, certain cards that kill people, and Playboy is one of those cards. It's not really a defensive draw card. It's I'm going to kill you. That's the type of card that we want to accelerate the game. We don't want to go back to Grey Wars. We want people, like I said, to defend creatively and not obviously. Like I don't want
Right.
there to be a gray wall of defense
All right.
and this is really a new player thing. If a new player walks by your game and they see 45 foundations in your staging area, what kind of game does that look like? Is that a fun game to you? Because they're reading a literal novel every time you look on the game.
I'm
So,
having a
I-
great time.
So am I. I'm
Yeah,
also
well-
a very different player.
Guys,
I'll
none
admit
of
to
you have
this.
ever decked Jeremy Ray playing all Sakura, so you don't even know what it's like. Oh, that was so good.
I tied that deck. We won
Um.
Worlds in 2009.
All right. How about let's see then. Spinning Necro Driver. It doesn't straight kill people. It just makes their assets
Straight
not
kills
work.
assets.
Yeah, it just kills assets, which there's not a lot of asset hate right now, so it's nice to have something.
Oh no. There is plenty of asset hate.
There,
Oh,
there's some,
gosh.
there are some cards. There are other assets that kill assets. There are. well,
Let
now-
me
now-
find my list.
Yeah, I wish we had more cards that were like Descent, which is actually another card from the Red Horizon set.
Descent is-
They kill
Descent's
assets
a-
because, like, when you Descent someone's card, you're not like blowing them out. You're not like, oh man, I would have played this card if it didn't blow up your asset, and I'm getting this as like a free bonus for my decently statted throw that has multiple. It's like, yeah, I can sideboard in Descent, or if I really have a problem with Hanya in my deck, I can start my Descent's main or something, and it can solve a problem for me. But it's like it's not a card you're just gonna like play 4 of automatically on the off chance someone's stupid enough to show up with assets. And I wish we had more cards like that. That were
Yeah,
just kind of like, not
more like
efficient,
Descent.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, Descent's a card that nobody ever used for the other ability.
It
That's
has a
true,
second
yeah.
ability.
Yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
it does?
Card actions from your card pool, I think. Is that it?
Something.
Let's just check that right now. Keep going.
Yes.
Fact checkers at work.
But man, okay, I might add
Oh,
something.
this card's action cards from card pools.
Good job, Kevin. I made it. I forgot.
I mean, Jason, has anyone else ever won a game with the Formon Audio League?
I don't know.
Because it's really good when you have 1-checks in your deck, and you're just like, well, if I can check a 1 on this Audio League and still be okay if I check a 5 on my next one. And then if you Audio League form, you look and you're not going to check a 1 on your attacks. Then you play Rising Typhoon, and it's going to pass, and they're going to die.
Right, but
Really good.
reasonably good asset hate. Just to go back on this, because I had this rant happen earlier in the day. I've been talking about UFS for a good 14 hours at this point. There's
It's a great day, isn't it? Everyone's having. a good
yeah,
time.
I've enjoyed this. Now that I calmed down from the snoring, I've actually enjoyed this deck. But there's Pity for a Traitor, Self Destruct, Polar Warp, Turbo Proto Buster, Donovan. Let's see, keep going down.
So we've got 2 cards people play.
Suji Hayate, Kyo's Jacket, Hydrants,
2.5.
Prodigy. Every single one of these cards that I have named, people have played in the past few months. Every single
Because-
one of those.
Because you have to, because there's no other way to get rid of an asset.
Yeah, I mean, you
And-
guys
and-
seem to be
and-
going
and-
for a while with a pretty solid theme of tapping down and icing assets, or sealing them, so that way it doesn't completely get rid of their card. So like they still get a chance to use it. Like like the example I think, the best one of these homemade explosives is Balanced, because these are the two situations. You played your homemade explosives first. I take my asset in my hand and I cycle it and I draw my card for the turn. I'm fine. Whatever. I play my asset first, then you play your homemade explosives. I now get your entire turn from when I first played it, and then you play your homemade explosives to try and use it defensively. And then I get at least my activations before your enhance to try and make a use out of it. So I at least try to gain some kind of advantage with my asset before you destroy it. So
Okay. So here's, I guess, the counter argument to this is the reason the assets exist is kind of what we're going at. So we're looking at foundations versus assets. The big difference, obviously, is you can commit foundations to pass checks. But the other big difference is that foundations are targeted by literally everything. And assets are almost a completely untouchable safe zone that have more powerful abilities. So having a few cards that hurt them is a really, really good thing, considering they're almost untargetable otherwise.
yeah, and we
So-
have a lot.
Well, we have like 6 cards.
Yeah, you can't stun an asset.
Right. So I think it's a very fair trade-off, especially since the cards that hurt assets are usually on very specific symbols. And they're usually the ones that run assets too.
I don't know. I don't really run many assets in.
Earth loves
Earth,
assets
life.
and it kills assets.
I don't know.
Just
Mm.
obviously, you should only play Super Heavy Challenge because that's an asset that doesn't mind when it dies.
I don't know. I feel Necro's still a little bit too strong.
It's a really strong
Really good.
I'm not going to deny it. We know it's strong. We know Chasm Buster is really strong too. Or Chasm. I'm not really sure how we pronounce that card now. I've heard too many people say
Chasm.
I don't know.
I call it
I'm
Chasm.
from Rochester. We say things how we want. We go to Avon and Charlotte. And
I think it might be Chasm.
I'm trying to think of ways to mangle it. It's just not a complex enough word. Chazam.
Shazam.
Shazam.
I apologize. I will be.
Shazam Buster. Yeah.
I apologize. I will be back again in a second. Someone else ask Jason a question. Water is a powerful drug.
All right, so who's glad Hughes is off the stream right now?
Stop it.
Oh man. Oh, chiz your pants. Nice. Oh.
I mean, I want to circle back though. I think, all said and done, at the end of the day, except for banning Gemini Man and not banning Kim, everything's good. I mean, for people who haven't been playing, these are new sets to them. It's good for, I'm sure it's good for Jason's bottom line. It's good for my bottom line, and people feel like they're getting new cards.
Honestly, the sales of Red Horizon has absolutely no place in the decision for this. In fact, I just assume everyone has so much of it out in the community already, because it's like 10 times more produced than any set we've ever done, that I can't imagine people coming to us to get it unless it's like Las Vegas where they just didn't have it in the first place.
It's just a happy side effect.
I just think people need the change before the meta. And I hate going into any Worlds or Nationals event without a set at least, within 3 months of it. It's just not the best World Championship or National Championship environment.
So are we going to be working in the future, Jason, to make UFS less defensive? Because I super love defensive UFS decks.
We're not going towards less defensive. We're going towards less obviously sit in the staging area and do exactly what you think it should do. Like this commit for -4 damage. We don't want that anymore.
Thank you.
yeah, just we don't.
But
we
you
don't
left
want-
one in the. But you left one available to me.
Yeah,
That card
it's-
sucks.
I know
we're-
it does. I just had to say it.
Yeah, and that one's like designed exactly how I would want it to be. Okay, we're still alive somehow. There's 10 cards left in the deck, and I'm gonna -4 damage this attack. Yeah, well,
I'm gonna buy some time to draw the cards I put on bottom with Fool Me Twice. It's fine.
yeah. So that's what I'm really wanting to get away from. I love defense from action cards, reversals, special blocks, from hand surprises. That is a great way to play defense. And then things from the staging area that find those tricks. And that's, I think, what defense should be in UFS.
Jason,
Needs to
have
be-
you ever considered a card that's like walking weapon after you block with it? You should.
He doesn't know what
That's pretty
walking
sweet.
weapon is.
Jason doesn't remember what walking weapon does.
You cancel their next ability.
Cancel their next ability? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be cool. Isn't that a
All
fun
right, I have a question for everyone in the call right now.
Can I have Master Magnetism back? Sorry,
That card was
I'm-
fine.
it was
Perfectly fine.
I love it. I love it in Turbo. It's
I
great
played
in
that
Turbo.
match. I played that match for literally 2 hours with a deck that could not beat a Student Observer, and it was Garrett and Devin. They had 8 copies of Student Observer between them, and I had a great time playing for 2 straight hours with that stupid Psyche deck. It was great.
That's for
That deck was
magnetism.
fair. It just needed not to have Morning Lost, and it's fine.
So was that your question, Kevin?
No, the question is where do the nipples go on chicken breasts?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
it was
know.
asked in the chat.
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh my
I don't
God.
look at chicken breasts very often. So
Jason doesn't even eat meat. That's why he's so scrawny and pale.
Was there a
Yeah.
turducken at the Jassel?
there was a regular turkey.
There's a,
Oh.
a tofurkey.
No, we don't have that. We're not big fans of the tofu.
Okay.
That makes me glad.
we pretty much like carbs and cheese. That's kind of what we do. Things that have carbs and cheese and cream. Yeah, that's good. But we had an awesome Thanksgiving, by the way, at the Jassel. It was really fun.
If it didn't cost so much to fly across the country, I would have come.
That would be great. Yeah, next time.
And also, if I didn't have family, I guess. And all that.
They can come too. We have a pretty decent sized house. So
He just invited Winston over.
Oh man, he's gonna have such a good time at security.
Oh god. Winston's a dog. Just in case it was obvious.
I
The
thought it was
Broberg Pit Bull.
a drug dealer, but we're close.
So, Jason, what would be your message to the community to kind of tell them to calm down, other than calm down or relax?
Well, I mean, this isn't obviously Armageddon, because why would we have paid so much for licensing if it was Armageddon? So that's one thing. Secondly, we have the sets ready to go. We're already spoiling them. They just obviously aren't going our way. This seems to just happen to Jatsko. It's a really fun thing. The weather or whatever act of God that can possibly happen will hit UFS. And we just kind of have come to accept that for the time being until we can produce so many sets of UFS at one time.
But just hope a boat with UFS does not go down via typhoon. That's all
That's
we
my-
gotta hope for.
In fact, I almost want to buy the insurance like 8 times just because it's probably going to happen. I'm like, let me at least make some money on this inevitable sinking of our product. But yeah, it's not. I mean, it's the opposite of what Steve Horvath did. We did not cut out 80% of the meta. We added back to the meta. We did kind of what I've been trying to tell everyone for a really long time is we want Red Horizon to be our core set, just like in Magic. Magic 2010, Magic 11, whatever. We have Red
Getting
Horizon,
rid of core sets.
but they're not getting rid of reprints, and that's what this is. This is we're having continually reprinted cards. Now it's not the whole 2 sets. It's not every card ever with the Red Horizon artwork, but keep your Red Horizon cards because they're going to come back now and then, and the good ones will, and the bad ones will, and then it'll just depend on the meta. So keep your Red Horizon cards, please, for the love of God.
So there's a chance you'll unban Ballistic Snap Kick one day and reprint it.
One day there's a chance that anything could happen.
Any given Sunday.
It'll be a format where every card has Short Fuse's response on it, every single foundation, and there are no mid attacks whatsoever. I think that'd be a great format.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What are people talking about here in the chat?
They're talking about how core sets are actually gone from Magic starting this year.
I think
Right.
it's Miles and
So-
Sarah are talking about chicken nipples a lot. I guess. Also important.
That's good stuff. Yeah, people need to know that.
It's a Switch tag. What do you expect?
So, Jason, what's being done to improve consistency overall throughout the brand? We talked about how we're going to be moving to 10 set releases. What about like tournament kits? I know Shane had mentioned that on the forums a couple of times, and I think our audience is interested to know, what's being done so that when we go to a PTC in Nashville or a PTC in Rochester or a PTC in Michigan, that they're all going to be ran the same.
So that starts, I guess, with prize support. So the first thing we're doing is obviously we want people to know what they're getting when they go to this tournament. And we want them to know that they're getting something that's worth traveling for. So the first thing we've started doing is creating prize kits or prize sets, I guess is what they are, where you only get these from tournament play. And this can even be local tournament play, but it's an idea we've had. I don't necessarily know if I want to tell you everything about it because it's kind of a surprise. But it's going to be a consistent, like quarterly prize kit that stores can get or your PTC organizer can order for your tournament. And you know what you're going to get in the thing, and it'll come with awesome cards and foilies and things like that. So prize support's the first step. Secondly, tournament organizing has been surprisingly hard to keep going because we don't have a judge program. We don't have official sanctioned judges at any of these tournaments. So things like what Joe was talking about earlier is, he said up front we're going to have 5 rounds. Well, obviously that's not a normal sanctioned tournament. It's always JASCO based on attendance. So that kind of thing is kind of weird for us to even hear about, that you just kind of go against the sanctioned rules. So moving forward, we're probably just going to have to start having either official judges that fly out to these events or judge tests where you can run them run your own event because you're a sanctioned judge. And unfortunately, UFS is really complicated to make judge tests for. It's not the easiest game because you get to play your opponent's turn in this game. It's kind of...
I remember the judge tests for Sabretooth games, and I kind of walked all over it pretty quickly.
It was
Oh
bad.
my god, it was so bad.
I mean,
some of them were wrong.
I also actually I remember one of the
question
judge
was wrong.
I remember
It was actually meant to be.
I remember one of the judge questions where I actually gave 3 different answers because it was ambiguous enough. And they had to make a rulings change because of that, how I answered the question.
Do you guys remember when they tried to change where if an ability started with if this deals damage, then that was the only part of it that mattered for that, and then the entire rest of the ability happened immediately?
Oh
Yeah.
god, I remember that.
If then period clause, the comma clause. It's they were very into their punctuation as to what the rules do. And versus or, and if, and when. Oh, I remember when.
When
I
this
don't-
attack deals damage.
I don't know. if you
Reduce it
guys
to
remember-
0.
Yeah. Oh, those were the days.
Back in the day.
Oh, the bad old days.
I actually, to take away from UFS for a bit, I have a question that is pertinent to your company, but it's not actually UFS related.
All right.
I'm assuming you know that Angry Joe has been talking about Universal Tactics over the past few weeks.
That he has.
What he said in his last event, in his last show, confused me greatly. Can you maybe elaborate upon it?
What
He
did he
made-
say?
He said he's making the game and that they are looking for companies that will make the game for them. He's making it sound like Jasco Games isn't
I
a
don't
part
know
of
if
it.
he's looking for companies.
He
Like, those
said
are his-
he's
those
looking.
are-
They're
those
looking
are
for
his quoted
developers.
words.
He said they are
Sorry?
looking for developers.
Oh yeah, so developers. I think he's just using the wrong words. He just hired 3 game designers
Mhm.
to work with him on the game. He is actually considered the lead designer of that game, but it's all under Jasco Games.
Okay.
So he's working with 3 other. I don't think I'm allowed to spoil that. Actually, I'm gonna let him do that. But 3 other really big name designers on the game.
All right.
And so that's what he was getting
Okay.
at.
He made it very much sound like Jasco Games was no longer affiliated with it at all.
Well, we'll fix that at a later point. But it's
Okay.
pretty obvious. That's why he has the Mega Man the board game in every one of his videos,
Yep.
and all of our pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I think if you wanted to break the tie, you'd probably have spelled it out.
Yeah.
But it's accidental.
Okay. But
What other questions do we have for El Presidente while he's on the stream?
what's your favorite card in Indians?
Is it Indians or Endines?
It's Indians, according to Brad.
I was gonna say Brad says just say it however you want, but my favorite card is the one that I read first. I have-
Ooh.
That kills you.
Haven't looked at this set yet, so this went straight through playtest. I don't really remember if I looked at it or not. It was a while ago,
Okay.
and it has art now, so it definitely looks different from anything I looked at.
I know the lead artist streams doing some of the artwork, and it's out there. It looks
Very
awesome.
nice.
Hikaru's
Yeah.
artwork looks sweet.
We have 3 pieces left, according to Brad today. 3 pieces.
Yep.
And then it goes to
It's her.
I'm in
according to-
that same conversation loop. So
Yeah.
Okay.
According to her last note, like she was told it's her main priority to finish the art.
Yeah,
at
like-
this moment.
like I
That's
actually,
good.
because I was up late at night from being sick for the past couple weeks. Like she made a post, and I was talking with her a little bit about it getting done and whatnot, and how she has Eligor as the last set. It's awesome.
So I want to address Piglet here. So
Uh-huh.
yes, I'm going to be bringing back Drunken Lily, and I'm going to figure out how to make that work.
But wasn't the whole point was you played like 4 attacks and they were all Blazing Storm and you just kept drinking your Blazing Storm?
Now I'm going to be stumbling a little bit more drunkenly with bar fight, drinking, and I don't know what attack, but it's going to be looped all the time.
Can you loop Blazing Storm or can you loop Rain Flush rather? Does that work?
Does it have water?
No.
No.
It has order.
I could probably do it on order. Yeah. Because drinking has order, right?
Yeah.
All right, you got this.
You have to have
So-
2 play assets and then put your assets to Rain Flush. You got them. Perfect.
Ooh.
You mentioned earlier, Jason, that you didn't want to release Indians through drive-through. Are we going to see Indians come out in a more traditional release?
So Indians is going to be a very weird release for UFS because it's not a booster set. It's 8 characters, 4 of them with support. The other 4, I believe, work off of the same support, and then they're designed to be able to create out of the box decks with commons from Blood Omen when it comes out, because it was supposed to come out first and things shifted and whatever. But the whole package is going to be in what probably something like a fat pack, and you'll just get all the cards you need in the pack, and that's it.
Do we have an estimated retail MSRP?
I will have to see how many cards that is. I believe it'll be 160 cards, so it probably will be around $25, maybe 30.
Oh wow.
For 4x of every card, for 4x of all the required cards.
All the cards, yeah, except for the
Okay,
maybe not-
that was actually
All right.
This
I could get behind this.
I'm behind this.
Which will be available hopefully on RochesterCCG.com.
Here's my wallet. I'm throwing it at the screen. I want
Look
it.
at that.
I don't
Brad-
think that works.
Brad told me so much of the story stuff for Eligor, and I want to play him. I don't care what he does.
There's some really interesting character.
Narcissistic Templar. Sounds
Mhm.
awesome. He better work with Templar, by the way. Like, come on.
Why
Like
not?
that's blasphemy if he doesn't work with it.
I mean,
I wonder-
how do you work with Templar? You just like have it in your hand and they attack you and you're like, Templar are you? And you're like, oh, dang, you got me.
Do something with blocking?
Blocking's for bitches. Those are the worst cards.
Oh, then don't play Templar anymore, Duo Long.
Templar is one of the cards that actually makes Duo Long almost playable.
Blocking's for bitches.
That deck's so fun.
It is a lot of
Sean,
fun.
why are you trying to quit that deck?
Because 2 new sets just came in, Kevin.
Two new sets
and
just
he
came
should
out.
build a new deck.
I gotta broaden my horizons.
Dude,
We
you can
No,
play
you have
Fearless
to add
now.
cards to that deck.
We should all
can play
build new
Fearless.
decks, including Jason. Let's all build new decks together.
What's
Drunken
not?
with-
What does everyone want to play?
Yo, hit me. Give me chat. Give me a deck. I want to build a deck. Chat's gonna build me a deck.
All right, so back.
UHOupper.deck. I'm on for UHOupper. We're not looking at Blue Waffle or Two Girls One Cup. Shut the fuck up.
Gentlemen.
Chat, you're getting.
Shane, I don't want to see that, please.
You know, it's kind of gross.
We can't stop the chat, but we can definitely not follow their orders.
Oh, I could stop the chat.
I
So
don't
Jason,
think we're.
are there going to be any other exciting things going on at the World Championship this year? I know we have. We're going to be at Otakon, which their East Coast con's super awesome. So I'm hoping their Vegas con's also super awesome.
Yeah, I think this is their second Otakon on the West Coast, so it's a growing convention, but it's run by the exact same company and the same founders and everything. So hopefully it's just as good. And I've never been to Otakon, so we'll see what I think of it, I guess. But the really interesting thing about it is they, after reaching out to them and through some connections we have here in Vegas for another awesome convention, Level Up Expo, our players get to go and play for free, which is sweet. I hadn't heard of that kind of thing happening before, so it's really awesome.
So
Nobody has to buy a badge for Otakon if they plan to play in the World Championship.
Only if they want to go into the actual con. The way it's laid out is we have a big section in front of the other main entrance, and you have to walk past all the UFS players to get into the convention. And it's really cool.
all right,
So
I hate to interrupt, but we have another special guest who unfortunately probably hasn't heard most of it, but it's someone that I thought is important enough to the community and should be as part of it as well.
Secret boss.
Secret boss.
Shane Duckworth's hiding in the background.
Oh boy, here comes Senpai.
He's coming. I
Prepare.
hope he's
Is he
coming.
answering?
very slowly walking. Well, I'll say it's a laptop. So maybe
I just want to say that I hope that everybody enjoys Vegas this year, very much.
Me too.
I kind of, I'm sad with my situation where work decided that PTO in January is not allowed.
I made the tough decision of I have a very strong option of going to Comic-Con this year. Hello, Tim Keefe. Welcome.
Hello, Senpai. Thanks for noticing me.
You've unfortunately probably not heard most, if not all, of our chat tonight.
I have not heard everything since Jason popped in.
Okay. Well, does Jason want to fill him in? Does Tim want to share his
I'm
thoughts?
possibly going to say a bunch of, if I say anything, it'll possibly be a bunch of redundant things, or Jason will be like, what the hell are you saying? Don't say that. Yeah.
Well, saying things is good. That's
Sounds good.
Well, welcome to Total Justice Heroes.
yeah,
Took me a minute there.
Got a big show tonight.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I didn't necessarily come in with any specific purpose other than I'm here, and I assume you were talking about things and stuff.
Yep. We've made this. We've talked about a lot of things. We've calmed some people down. I guess we wanted to know some of your thoughts about this.
Yeah, I mean, Unbalanced, as for the rotation thing, and obviously there's two sides of this, right? There's the one side where you have existing players, you have longtime players, you have players who are going to be sort of cynical and attentive to you evaluating how well they think Jasco is running the game, and are they doing things that other CCGs are doing, and that sort of thing. And there's certainly an extent to which it's going to look silly to those people. On the other hand, you have a meta and what's going to end up being like an 8-month gap, 9-month gap between major set releases. And I've been thinking about this, and for all that people want to think of, like when you think of people losing people, like people stop playing a card game. you have the people that just have to quit because they can't afford it. They, life happens. They have to move, whatever. Like those just happen. You can't do those. And then you have sort of the traditional person you think of where something happens, like a character comes out, they lose to the same deck a lot, some decision gets made, something gets banned, and you can see, like, envision people just like flipping a table and being like, oh, I'm done, right? And that's sort of what people think of when they think of people quitting card games, but that's not actually the majority of people who stop playing card games. For every one of those people, there's probably another 10 for which it's just a matter of they miss a weekly one week, right? And then they come in the next week and they play against some of the same stuff, and then they go home, and then it comes up, they're deciding where they're going to go the next week's event, like, I'd rather watch Netflix or whatever, and then somewhere they're thinking maybe I'll build a new deck, and they'll get us and say, I don't really want to build anything, and then they miss another weekly, and then like 4 or 5 weeks pass, and it's like, why am I holding on to these cards, right? And those are sort of the people that this is going to hopefully help preserve a little bit, right? Because, right now, let's face it, this is a hard time to be trying to recruit people. I mean, there are still tins, there are still some starter decks, but, the big thing, Street Fighter's still a little ways off. So, for now, the biggest thing is to keep the people we have, and this is good for that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it still gives you a reason to go build a new deck. It still gives you new things to play with. Like, I was really excited about it. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's excited about stuff like, I don't know, Omnis Bissell Reese.
The Neomax Flash Mai is back.
Yeah.
Remember that? That deck's
Dude,
back.
I was talking to you about this. Yeah, you were like, "Oh man, it needs Playboy. It needs Conquest.
Yeah.
Well, it has Conquest. It needed Playboy."
Yeah, I need Playboy. Playboy's back. So that deck's
You can play Infinite Zoe again.
You can't.
Yeah, I
He's gonna do it.
Oh yeah. I've actually one of my friends who played that deck locally, and it was the only deck he played for a while, has already contacted me and said he's probably going to come back and play it.
Oh, that's great. I can get turned 2 by it again.
Yep.
Yay.
Brian's going to come back with Infinite Zoe, and Ryan's going to come back with Natali.
Oh, sick.
Because
Natali
Force
can
of
play
Will
Flying Fortress Buster for free.
Because Force of Will has like 6
Oh.
players now in our local area. Mainly because them and I quit.
Yep.
Yeah, well, this is actually a really cool thing about this announcement too. Is we've heard a lot of people saying they're coming back, and I haven't heard anyone saying they're quitting.
Yeah.
We've heard people say they're thinking about
I
it.
had the early morning. I'm done. I had to go through the phases of acceptance
Same
today.
here.
Whatever you want to call
The
like
5
those.
yeah.
Yeah, I had to go through that today. It
Like-
was weird to go over that over a card game, Jason.
Yeah.
You made me do
This
that.
It's a different card. No, this is
Yeah.
not your average card game. We all know that.
I
Like,
know.
I'm still. We're gonna see what happens. I really would have liked to see endings at least.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand, the basic plan for dealing with this gap was going to be in Beans, but the art just hasn't gotten there quickly enough, and so you have to do something, right? So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and it's gonna be an interesting format, at least for a little while, for long enough to get to the next sets.
I
Right.
will agree. Bottom line, at least, out of thinking of everything else, spend time thinking of the day, I think it's the best plan it's the best decision out of the worst of what's worse going on right now.
It's probably the best idea out of a lot of not great options.
And
It's
that's
not
why
pretty-
it's a really
and-
hard decision.
I mean, you
And-
should have brought back Shadow War. I've got like 4 sealed boxes of Shadow War right here sitting by my feet.
Let's just let that die forever.
I would love to open these right now.
Hey, someday the Electman execution technique third right
Oh my god.
succeeded to feed the momentum.
Huh.
It's just like,
Okay, I want to open those and build that as a casual deck.
I'm just glad Champ Cards didn't come back. That would have been not fun.
No.
You definitely didn't want any promos, really, not just champ cards, but just promos. First of all, it doesn't help our new players get into the sets, which we have plenty of Red Horizon and Tides cards right now. You can either get them from drive-through, get them from friends, trades, whatever. And Red Horizon 1, like I said earlier, we printed a bajillion of that set. Like, so much of that set that would last us at least 6 years because it's done that. And so if it's not already laying around in your friend's card box and you can borrow everything, then there's still more of it, and it's pretty affordable. We removed the MAP on it, so it's just out there. So new
Ooh,
players
when did that happen?
today.
Right now.
Oh, okay.
You should have an
The-
have an email about it.
So, can I make one request for a promo card that was from the King of Fighters set, like the King of Fighters mini set we should bring back?
Bernstein Stadium.
Perhaps as a monthly promo is Forbidden Knowledge. Forbidden Knowledge ain't never hurt nobody. Never hurt no man. It's just
Kevin
good, clean
Broberg.
fun.
You like draw?
Have Champ Foundation.
Kevin,
I'm-
you get your champ card promos done. We'll talk.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
How's that coming along? That's a question. Are we getting a new batch of champ cards at Worlds?
Are we getting a new batch of champ cards at Worlds? Tim, do you know that question?
It's going to depend on, well, whatever is left of playtest has to work through. There's probably about a dozen that can be sort of tested and put out if the art is done. It's just a matter of putting the time into actually doing that. You know, for most champs out there, there's a handful that just sort of fell out of contact with me, and you know, I've said this a number of times on a number of venues. I'm not, if you're a champ and you're waiting on a card and we back and forth in email, I probably sent the last email and you probably never got back to me in most cases, and I'm not going to chase after people, right? There's too many cards and people floating out there that I'm just going to assume that people are either don't care or just taking more time to consider what they want. And I'm not going to nag anybody to, hey, you need to get back to me about your card. So whatever we have that has something resembling a final design, you know, Jason and Shane have it. There's some that are in playtest files somewhere. And the next time there's enough art to print a batch, we're going to go through and get them all sorted out.
I have a actually question for Jason, for me and Kevin. Maybe you can help us out. Speaking of champ cards, Kevin has like 100 champ cards in queue, and I have like 1. How do we go about maybe getting help from a Jasco Games artist to do the art for them? Because I generally don't like the art community right now, and I just can't be bothered to do it.
Okay, well, just tell us you need art, and then we'll tell us what kind of art you like, and then we'll get you an artist. Pretty easy, actually.
That sounds a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I mean, like Brad needed 6 pieces of art for Exceed that we're missing, and we got them done in like 4 days. So they look really awesome. It's Marathi, Eva, and Ulrich artwork. It's really good, actually.
Cool.
You want to spoil one, Eva? You throw one on the side. Show the Eva art. The Eva artwork.
Tim Keefe,
It's on the desktop.
do you remember if my card got approved?
Put it into the Skype. For Matt.
I mean, everything's in a state where it either is sort of finalized, could be finalized within a short round of like testing and back and forths. So it's a matter of when there's enough art to actually print a batch, we'll go hash whatever needs to be hashed out. I
Okay.
think your card's in a good place, at least in my perspective, so far as I'm concerned, but we can talk about that offline if you need to.
Okay.
Did you send it to Matt? Send the JPEG.
Well, I think definitely now that the panic of the morning is done, I think we're in a fairly good place.
Yeah, I will definitely say I got calmed down throughout the day. This conversation is calming down a lot more. Hopefully it's calmed down a lot of other people.
I was just as uncalm as all of you, just for the record. That's why I didn't sleep last night. So it's because it's a big decision, and I knew like Worlds is coming, and we can't delay the decision. Something had to be done. So I'll sleep eventually, and I have to drive to Texas tomorrow morning. So
Oh, fun.
What a champ.
Long term, the tougher part is going to be the playtest thing, and as I understand, that was something that Jasco basically had to do. And so ooh, Ava Heart.
Yep. I am opening this and bringing it onto this screen, covering everyone's faces.
That's fine. Right.
This is awesome.
Jason Cardi, everyone.
Chat, take a look at this art.
Is that Ava?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this the new Order Attack of Power?
It's
Can we bring those
completely
back, by the way? I really like those.
the attacks of power.
Yeah.
I was thinking about we haven't released Fire, Order, or what was the last one? All. We have the artwork for them too. They just never got released, and I even have art for Infinity. Never got out. We should I think, at least come up with something.
It cycles back like once every 6 months, and it's really hard. Just sort of the idea of printing a bunch of one-check attacks in a way where they're both playable but not like rendering a bunch of ultra rares useless, and that sort of thing. Like Rising Typhoon made a lot of, well, not necessarily, but like Curse of Righteousness made a lot of like good 2-checks.
Yeah, Righteousness was just
really
don't make
dangerous, right? Like because you were playing Righteousness.
Don't talk about righteousness.
Can we play
Kids,
seven
I'm
this?
gonna bow out for the night. It's past my bedtime.
Okay, that is fine.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you
11
to
o'clock.
everybody for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. Jason, thanks for joining us. Tim, I wish you could have joined us sooner.
Final
and,
Fantasy 14. It's important.
I will see some of you guys this Friday. I will see some of you guys in January. Joe Tonello, good luck with your event. And you guys have a good night, okay?
Night.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye, Sean.
All right, now we got him out of there, and we've replaced him with the Shadow War card.
Oh no, there we go.
Yo, Peaceful Path World.
Yeah,
That's like
The most-
that's an infinite loop with the old promo Sakura.
You know it, baby. No. You have to have a way to clear a face down from your card pool infinite times as well. which
Sorry.
is
Yeah. Household chores.
trivially easier. Household chores plus infinite momentum. Yeah.
So, by the
I
way,
think it might have had to deal damage.
back to back to this beautiful Ava artwork real quick. By the way, this is one of those things I was talking about a couple days ago, Jason. Just showing something like that to us ahead of time during like a lulled season where we've got nothing going on. That's something to talk about. It's speculation. Like I know because of Exceed, there's art out there for Red Horizon, like for a card that looks really beautiful, called Bloody Baptism. Just like putting that on the page. Just like take the art from that. You know it's going to be in your set eventually. Just showing it to be like, this is going to be a card someday. Talk about it. That I love talking about art. I want to talk about the artist. I would have actually bugged the level 99 artist for an interview, except for the fact that I wanted her to get the art done. Only reason why I didn't ask her.
Should we show another one?
I'm looking at him right now.
Which one?
I don't know, chat. What do we want to see? We got.
Yeah, you pick.
Ooh, Shane's picking.
It's only 6. Well,
Oh, do you want to do the mark?
yeah, that's a cool one.
I've heard and seen things about Baelcor from
Yeah,
the.
Belkor's awesome.
I can't wait for that foundation.
I don't know what that foundation is, but it sounds awesome.
The hunt for spiders and dragons.
Oh yeah.
His bit, the one he has.
Yeah, that one's gonna be good. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's pretty funny because a guy in SD Jarn possibly correctly pointed out that he's more worried about that card than ever hopeful, and he has a lot of good points in that regard. But there's something about flipping cards that's just sort of inherently fair because they don't lose the foundation outright.
Yeah. You don't really get foundation denial. You don't get resource denial out of it, rather. Whereas Ever Hopeful is like in extreme situations is almost like Skullman, where it's like stacking. It's screwing up your next draw step more than it does, as much as it does anything else.
Ooh. I'm assuming this is Baelkar?
No, that's
I think I know what card that is.
That's Marathi, it looks like.
This card was an accident, actually, but it's awesome. So I told him to keep drawing it.
Yeah. I think,
I think that's Marathi.
Yeah.
That is.
Okay.
Is that Marathi's Soulbound?
Yes, it is.
Looks cool. I really like it.
That is a gigantic elephant Cthulhu beast.
Oh, that's right. I just saw a big beefy dude with a giant weapon, thought it was Marathi. I forgot he looks all dark and evil looking. I haven't looked at the promo with him on it yet because we haven't gotten them in my hands.
I've looked at them multiple times. They're on UFS Ultra already.
Yeah, I know. I need it in my hands, though.
Oh my god. Guys, snowboarding enthusiast is going to be tier 1.
Tier 1.
Flash Lightning is so good.
That's
So
pretty
good.
good. I love that card.
Flashlight.
Kevin and his silly synergies. Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my Flash Lightning, and then here's my Spiders and Dragons.
So
Here's more Spiders and Dragons. Here's more Flash Lightning.
now I guess my only problem left with the day is
Do you know how to do
now I can't play Fallout all day tomorrow because I have to build these decks.
Yeah. And I want to touch on the playtest thing for a moment. I'm sure this has already been said, but obviously anyone that's played the game enough or has been around enough is aware of the fact that the whole idea that that advanced knowledge of cards is a legitimate advantage in events is really not true to the point where it's basically a joke. Yeah. And it is really funny if I could go back and like show you what some of the playtesters thought about card X or Y when it was on playtest compared to what actually happened when it came out. I mean, everyone was convinced that Chin was a sideboard character. Straight up, right? Nobody thought anyone would actually put him in front of a deck. And there's just all sorts of stories like that. Like predicting a meta in advance is basically impossible. But the problem is that people, the store owners, people who are getting into the game who don't know it all, aren't really realize this. So perception is reality and have to deal with it, right?
Yep.
But I was thinking about there is one actual like useful thing to talk about that is sort of an advantage to being on playtest, and that is that when you're on playtest, you have to. It forces you to get better at card evaluation if you want to be good at playtesting, right? Because you're not just looking at a card in terms of, am I going to put this in my deck or not? It's, do I want to put it in this deck? And if I don't, why is that? Like, what is it about this card that is making me choose not to include it in my deck? And is it something where, is there another deck in which I might include this, right? And if there are no decks in which I would include this, okay, what sort of inherent this card?
You also, sorry to interrupt, but you also decide, am I putting this card in every deck? And
Yes.
that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah. But specifically in terms of, it's not just the yes/no decision of can I play this card. It's not just, oh, I'm going to shuffle it up and decide if I like it in my deck or not. You actually have to really think about what does card X or Y, and you're like, why am I deciding to put cards in decks or not put cards in decks? What makes a card playable as a 1 or 2 of? And like if a card is niche but might show up as a 2 of in some top 8 deck at some point over 3 years, then that's a successful card. And just sort of thinking about whether or not a card has a potential to be that is a different way of looking at cards, and it makes you better at card evaluation. It makes you better at building decks.
Mhm.
And that's something that anybody can do, but being on test sort of makes you do it.
I
Yeah,
agree with that
and
entirely.
like, another way to put it is almost just like being on playtest makes you talk with the other people who are on playtests, who are there because they're incredibly good players and who can talk about the game at an incredibly high level and explain those ideas to you and make you understand them. And that's like what they're there for, is to help you. It's like figure out why you're not on the same page if you're not on the same page about something.
Mhm.
Like, I think the only time, because I was a playtester a very long time ago in the Sabretooth and whatnot days, I think the only time I ever took advantage to it where I thought it was unfair was when I saw in the markings that Blood Runs True was going to be a box topper for starter decks. And I pre-ordered a copy of it with the store because they always open one. I had someone set it aside for me. I knew that card was gonna be insane, and I picked up copies of it right away. It's the only time I think I did something unfair.
Blood runs.
I apologize.
That's such a
And
good
I got 4 of those cards as fast as anybody just because I'm a Nakaruru fanboy. I didn't even know if it was any good. I'm just like, I need to get this.
Well played.
Jesse?
I did it with Syndicate.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't break it as far as how it got really ridiculous. Like, I didn't think, I just knew, like, okay, this card's insane. But I was like, when I walked into a couple, I think at the time, I think it was Cool Stuff was one of the main sites I bought from, and they had them at like $10. I'm like,
yeah, okay.
yes, set, please.
Yeah. I did personally not think that's something that I missed. I knew that card was good. I didn't know that card was going to be the card that broke the market, because that time the most expensive card was like $15, $20
After
within a
Power Up.
month. With like Power Up was like a $20, $25 card. 30 a little bit later, maybe, but that card went to $60.
Yep.
I never thought that would happen. So I guess I
Now
kind of
it's-
underestimated that
Now
card.
Trinity Geyser.
Somebody tried to trade me an Addis ticket for a match concession. And
And-
shit.
Was this like in the undefeated bracket, or?
He was in a diversity fight with Shane, actually. They were both playing Akuma, and I was playing Talam, and Akuma was like a 5% matchup for me. Like, I basically auto-lost, but I beat him anyway. And he's like, dude, I'll give you an Addis ticket to VPC. I'm like, I have 6 of them. It's not like...
Man, they're just getting outplayed and they're just getting outplayed.
Jason,
I remember that card.
Yeah.
just because people are asking because they love the artwork, is it okay for me to post these on Total Justice Gaming afterwards?
I would actually hold off on those because we just got them in today, so I want to make sure the artist is okay with that.
Okay. So you heard that, chat? I will
But
sit on them.
As soon as Jason Cardi gets back to me, he's really cool about this stuff.
Yeah.
It should be no problem, but
Yeah.
as soon as we hear from him,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Once I get the okay, they'll be up, chat. So,
Also,
it's mine.
While we're talking about art, just so you guys know, the Sub-Zero art at the bottom, obviously there's no background or anything. This is just a concept to send to WB to see what they think of the style. So this is like just kind of inside information on how the process works. And it's for the the Mortal Kombat board game, not for UFS.
Okay.
UFS is using most original art from the game, and it's actually going to be really hard to draw for because it's so realistic. We're going to be paying a lot for artwork for this set, for anything that we don't already have. So
Yeah, Mortal Kombat just seems like a mess to me. I hope it'll be glorious when it comes out. I can see that there are snafus. I already can tell, like, if you look at the Scorpion, anyone who looks at it carefully, you had to change some of your text around, it looks like. And I think I heard
Yeah.
a conversation
Yeah, so-
overheard at Gen Con.
So the legal lines were changed several times. I don't know if you guys went to look at the card on the Facebook, but the Mortal Kombat X logo, for instance, is huge, and it had to fit on there. We had to move the second normal legal line that's on top of the bottom one to be split onto two sides of the text box for some reason, and then had a ridiculously long under legal line because their legal line is longer than anything they've ever had. They didn't let us put the artist's information on there at all, which is, I mean, it's a courtesy thing we do for the artists anyway, but it's just weird that they would even care. But yeah, well, it's gonna look interesting.
Every
Sorry for
card's
the-
gonna look like that too.
And as we're cycling to talking about these, you said an astounding number when you were just a part of the chat that there was going to be 10 to 20 characters in Street Fighter.
Yeah, well, Tim wasn't there for that, but yeah, I mentioned how many characters we plan on putting in each set, and it's so we're looking at making
Exact number?
what?
Can I give the exact number?
Sure, whatever.
I believe it is 22.
Woo!
Whoa!
For Street Fighter,
22.
Now,
mini support. Why not? Let's go.
is a bunch of
Yeah.
mini support? Is
Hold
it a
on,
gigantic
There's a lot
set?
that goes into this, of how that's actually going to like work inside the set. But by the time the second Street Fighter set comes out, we should have very nearly all of the characters that have any kind of popularity at all, right? Available to play.
Here's a question, because there's a logistical issue. How hard is it going to be to get these characters? That's a lot of characters for one set.
Not at all.
It will not be a problem.
Interesting.
As long as
Is the
Jerry's
car
not
going to be
sick,
legal?
Is what?
Is the car going to be a character? Can I play as the car?
Well, you can get hit, but you can't hit back.
The car is a zero hand size 100 vitality. And we'll play before.
I play the mill plan. I like it.
Its ability is you can't play foundations or attacks.
Yeah. And
You,
you're zero
you must not know
size.
about the Tamayose plays. Okay.
You can mill. Go for it. That's how the car wins.
Exhaustion. I like it. Yeah.
F. Mill the top 10 cards to your opponent's deck.
There are probably some builds of Felicia that could not kill the car. Some of those silly, like, all-in on ever hopeful decks that can't actually kill a 5-hand size.
As long as Jerry's in the first set, I'm good.
So I
Yeah.
guess you've given us a lot of information on Street Fighter. I was fishing for more, but I guess I've fished enough. 22
yeah.
characters is big info.
Yeah, one of the things I don't like to do when it comes to spoilers is, like, obviously we're showing you guys stuff from this artwork isn't even from a set. It's just artwork for Exceed, but it'll obviously be in the Red Horizon thing somewhere. But typically, I don't like to take hype away from whatever the most recent set coming up is, which is going to be Battle for Power and Indines. So, talking a lot about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and then going, like, we could go further down the road into Cowboy Bebop, and then there's another license after that we haven't told you guys about.
Ooh! Ooh!
Stop.
Sorry. I'm
We're
sorry.
not starting that
I'll
tonight.
stop. I'll stop.
Stop.
My
So,
heart skipped a beat, Jason.
Yeah.
You
That's
know
funny.
me.
Jason, you said too much. The,
But anyway, what were we talking about?
We were talking
don't
about
like-
how you were going to talk about Indies for us.
High-profile spoilers taking away from the immediate next
Yeah.
sets of Battle for Power.
I personally
Because
really
there's always something really exciting coming out down the line. But if we talk about it all at once, then where's the
Yeah.
focus?
Talk-
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, remember what happened with like Ruler of Time, where the entire set was like spoiled in everybody's hands like 4 months before it actually released, and it was sort of like the most unhyped release in history.
Oh, I like that set.
I mean, I liked the set, but the release was like, oh, okay, we can actually play with these characters.
I'm used to Magic, where everything is spoiled well ahead of time. But that's
The full spoilers is only like 2 weeks in advance, dude.
yeah.
2 weeks is not that far.
It's not well ahead of time. Yeah.
All right, I'm used to back when I played Magic competitively when Raincord Elf existed and spoiled things months ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'm a monster.
Yeah, that's no good. That's no good. No one likes that. That's why they killed him. He's dead.
I didn't kill him.
They
No,
they,
they sued him into the ground. No, they sued
they
him.
exiled
into
his
the
Rancor
ground.
and then they killed him to the ground.
Like that's obviously that's the bad end of it, but like I'm fine with not going too much in the Street Fighter and whatnot. I think the character thing was really awesome because that sounds like a big change. But I would definitely I want more on Indians because Brad really hyped me on Indians. Like you have no idea. He wants to come back on our show and just spoil every single card. He just
I'm pretty hyped for a handful of cards in Indies for sure.
Yeah. Like he
He
just
asked if he could spoil some stuff, and I was like, I don't mind. So
oh cool. So we can have
We
him on
might
the
have
show next
We
week.
might have the Indian spoiler show soon then.
Do you
Since
mind if I
everything's
set up something with Brad?
I would say tell Brad, please don't spoil everything.
Can we spoil like some character cards?
I'm sorry?
Character cards?
Character cards is cool. I think those are actually really, really interesting anyway.
All right then. You heard that, folks. Next episode of Total Justice Gaming, we'll hopefully have Brad and Ella Gore and a few other characters.
And 7 of the 8 of the characters have art.
Ella Gore doesn't have art. I mean,
That's cool.
I can either you can find me art, but that doesn't need to happen. There's art out there for them, so I can show people. It won't be the exact art. What works with the out with Brad?
Miles would like to point out something about Turbo. He wants me to talk about Turbo. So
That's
Turbo.
Oh,
When
yeah.
does the next set rotate for Turbo?
Now.
now.
What is the rotation? It's 4 sets at
4
a time,
sets,
right?
yeah.
I guess Red
so-
Horizon's in Turbo? No, that doesn't make
No,
sense.
Red Ride's not in Turbo. It would be
Get out.
would does Indians rotate a 10?
It probably should. We'll make an announcement on that because I'm actually not sure.
When's
So,
when's the next qualifier? So that way Giggles can go win that one.
okay. But yeah, so the Turbo season is going to be starting immediately after Worlds, and we have a big season planned for it. Get everything going. The official sanctioned Turbo events. Every store can run Turbo qualifiers. I believe it might be twice a month. I think it's once a month though. Anyone's allowed to play. It's open, but to qualify for the winning of the car and the grand prizes and everything in the invitational, you have to qualify through your local tournaments, your Turbo qualifiers. So I'm not sure exactly.
We'll have a minimum number of people.
Yeah, I believe the minimum is 16 players
Yeah.
to have a qualifier.
The Empire Circuit can do this.
Yeah, I don't know what else Miles would like me to say, but Miles is running the event, so or the organized play for us.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah. So we have promo cards that we're giving out for these as well. So
Yes.
basically every month we'll have, I think it's 1 or 2 new cards that go with Turbo qualifiers. Since you can play these at your local stores, they should be just as readily available as monthly price support.
Mhm.
So as long as you go in and play in your weekly or whatever your Turbo qualifier, you can get the Turbo promos for the events.
Just in case for the people that can't make it, either there's not enough people support at their store or any other number of reasons, are they going to be like the other promos and be on drive-through and be on pack redemption eventually?
It'll probably be on Redemption. I don't know if it'll be on drive-through because we don't want an exclusive promo. We never really ever wanted to do that. But we also don't want something that's not going to waste your time going to the event. We want people to have a reason to go and get their cool card.
Okay.
So we're kind of looking for a middle ground right now. And Miles, I added you. You wanted me to add you. So there you
Yep.
go.
Yep, I'm dialing them up.
We're just keep adding people in and out, in and out.
Special guest.
Oh.
Special guest number 3.
His thing apparently does not support video. Group video calling.
I'm on my cell phone.
Fair enough.
Welcome, Miles.
Oh, you might want to turn off our stream in the background so we don't get an echo.
Yeah, I did. Done.
Okay. Welcome I hear that you are doing turbo for us. That's exciting.
Is letting me run turbo since I'm building the car.
That's
Is
makes
that
sense.
acceptable?
I saw the connection. I like it.
I won't talk about anything that I'm not supposed to, but basically how it works is every store can have a turbo qualifier at least once a month. You can have 2 of them if your store is having a PTC, and you can add on the turbo qualifier kit and host the qualifier at your PTC. So, for example, next year in April, when Omaha has its PTC, we'll not only have our monthly turbo qualifier, but we'll also have a turbo qualifier at the PTC to give more people a chance to vie for their car key.
Ooh, that's more of a reason to show up to PTCs.
Now, and I
I
have
like
a
this.
question here for the gentleman Giggles Khan, who competed in 2 very large tournaments for his positions, for his take on that car. Where will that fall, or where will that fall in the long run with this, big run of events that are going to happen? Is there going to be, I'm assuming, a long list of information is going to be announced eventually for this turbo qualifier season?
Yeah, in January around Worlds, you guys will get to potentially see some of the promos that will be getting released for Turbo, as well as potentially the play mats that will be given to first and second place along with the car key. But the way it works is you can only one person can have a key ultimately, but you can block people from having keys. So, for example, Giggles has 2 keys right now because he's won 2 turbo qualifiers, but that doesn't give him 2 spots at the qualifier. It just confirms that there's one less person available to play for the car. So, for example, if I win every turbo qualifier at my store, that just means that none of my other players can fight for a key or can play for the car at Worlds or at Nationals next year or Gen Con. So it's not necessarily securing that Giggles will win the car. It's just lessening the odds of people being able to play against him currently for the car, if that makes sense.
So
Okay.
So
once it's
if
all
you-
in text, it'll be easier for me.
So Miles, if you
Right.
key block someone, does that extra key count as a seat in the tournament? So I can basically seat myself against a bye.
No, it's just you stopping one of your other players from going to Worlds with you and getting to play for the car.
So you're just being a bad friend. Got it.
You're being a bad friend, exactly. So I mean, there are ways to get around that, but the way you have to think about it is this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. The more players you have playing for this thing, the less likelihood of you getting it. So if you let all your buddies just win, you could get screwed in the long run because you might have that one friend that's like, he let me get a key, and then you get paired up against him and he just destroys you and holds no back, no mercy during the actual playthrough event next year. So you gotta kind of play this strategically.
Yep.
Kevin
Alright.
has a thinking face on. What's Kevin thinking?
Kevin's not
I'm
thinking.
discussing Red Horizon technology on the Facebooks.
He's on deck building mode already.
Flash trap.
Hey, Miles,
Yes.
are you going to be able to come next week?
We're going to try with this new big shift with Red Horizon. All of our play groups decks that they've been teching for the last 2 months got completely and utterly flipped upside down. And a lot of my players are saving money because a big group of us are planning on showing up for Worlds. So while I might personally try to come, it's literally going to depend on 2 things. One of which being weather, because we're getting snow in Nebraska right now, and the other of which being my auto repair shop and how busy it is. So I'm trying to clear things so I can make it, but it's all going to depend on those 2 factors.
I certainly hope you can make it, but none of us can control the weather, and I would much prefer your safety over your attendance.
Well, yeah, and I'll
You-
probably see a lot of you at Worlds anyway, because I will be there. A lot of my guys are going to be there. A lot of new players that I've told a lot about you guys. Kevin got to meet Eggs. That was a big deal.
Eggs.
I don't think any in Nashville will be going to Worlds.
That's sad. That's pretty sad.
I'll be there for Gen Con, but most likely because going to Comic Con's on my bucket list, and that I have the option to go this year potentially because a large group of people from Rochester are planning on going this year. So I had to give up going to Vegas this year.
Fair enough. Well, you
Doesn't
guys will
matter.
get to miss out because hopefully we'll get to spoil some of the cards for Turbo, and the new character that's coming down the pipeline for Turbo.
Oh, I've got spies. Don't worry. I've got spies. I'll see them.
That's up to Jason. I'm not in charge of that one. I'm just in charge of helping you guys get to play for the car. That's it.
All right.
All right. All right. It's
Well,
starting to
I'm
wind down. I think we're approaching the 2.5 hour mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close.
I mean, are you guys really complaining about talking about UFS all night? I mean, really? I mean, on a
No.
scale of complaining.
I'd be fine with it, but I've been talking about it since like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Less talking, more building.
Yes, sir. I
I'm gonna
gotta-
go with deck for Friday.
I mean,
so-
my
Jason,
my
who's
Ryu
your favorite
deck.
character in Standard right now?
Oh, yeah. Oh shit. Favorite character in Standard.
Caden 1 dot.
Oh yeah, definitely Caden.
Lily,
got
no.
0 new support.
I like Drunken Lily, but she's not gonna do anything until
Free Red Horizon. Free Red Horizon. As of
Red-
November 30th.
Pre Red Horizon is probably Goro. Not as
Trinity
a favorite.
Goro? Trinity
as a-
Goro is too damn good.
As I think he's the best.
And I'm ready to play Ryu 10 dot. That's what it is, right? It's a slightly bigger dot, and it's supposed to be the 10 Ryu.
There we go.
That's what I'm going with it.
I'm not sure. Didn't pay attention to the dot. Is the dot?
I have no idea. I'm just being a joke. I'm just trolling. But yeah, let's get to building, folks. Let's see if this meta is awesome, painful, or rain flush.
Too
I'm-
damn
I'm-
good.
I'm going on rain
Or all
flush.
three.
Maybe the Rain Flush Hot Tony deck is actually plausible, man.
Hot Tony! Forgot all about Hot Tony.
Okay, someone explain to me.
Multiple keywords that had decent blocks were not present previously, and maybe they are now.
Someone explain to Matt why Fireman is called Hot Tony.
Because
His name's Hot Tony!
Because every Mega Man character has an alter
Oh.
ego.
We're just talking about rain flush fireman. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
they're both 8 damage. It's awesome.
Yeah.
For free.
Because I actually talked to Rich about that a couple weeks ago. Or not Rich, Kaiser about that a few weeks ago. I'm hyped for Rain Flush, off of Ryu, obviously, with some updates. And the old Ava.
Dude,
I mean-
I told someone on Facebook, you play Stacker Avas.
I'm hyped for people playing BB Hood symbols and having Jealousy and Fakes to shut down all of this Rain Flush and Necro Drive.
Shh. No, that card doesn't exist.
Yes, it
So,
does.
you guys think that Dr. Cossack got like better, like significantly better?
What card?
Dr. Cossack.
Oh yeah.
I think he's.
Cossack is godlike now.
I mean,
Cossack gets to play Zing, and he gets to put a hero's training on the top of the deck with Throw It Down.
Yeah.
Cossack is godlike.
he gets a hell of a lot better, but when you're
My
the
first thought was actually no, he's worse because he has more cards that aren't a new ally or ring toss champion.
like when
It's
it's
like all you want to do with him.
I don't know.
No. Throw it-
He's better
throw
than
it
hot
down, Zing.
garbage.
Going
Throw It
on
Down,
the-
Zing.
2/4 no block master race.
He's better than hot garbage now. I still think everything else is a lot better though.
Just close all of the tabs.
I think he's fringe playable now.
I'm pretty sure before the Red Horizon stuff, Garrett Brett could have top 4 once on PTC with Dr. Cossack if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, that
If
deck
you
was
could-
really good.
If you wanted to find viable characters by can a Garrett or Kevin or like a Birch or J Ray or something go deep in an event with this deck, Dr. Cossack's on the list. Our list is probably.
But yeah,
Doesn't-
actually, I really like your take on tier lists. That you just have to be willing to go really deep and find the bizarre stuff that makes it actually work.
Y'all have a good night.
Actually,
Night, Shane.
Night,
Shane,
Jake.
I thought you were dead.
I was.
He's clapping.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
It's a good
Alright.
answer.
All right. So, do we have any final comments from everyone? Because I think we should start to wrap it up. I'm sure Jason wants to sleep for the first time in the past 24 hours.
Jason's got a long trip ahead of him tomorrow.
48 hours, and after
yeah,
that,
yeah. Let's say it's never 24. It's always at least 30.
that's been 48. I did sleep for 1 hour, so I guess I'm good. The sun
Yeah,
was already.
is
It
this-
was like.
Is this just a side effect of the vegetarianism, or?
I think this is a side effect of stress levels.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's one way to look at it, I guess.
And it was a really surprising, like it was what's the word? Energetic night last night because it was very exciting for like nervous reasons, and it was just, I made an announcement that didn't necessarily want to have to make, but it kept me up. Definitely kept me up, and people were talking to me until now. So about this decision I made.
Truth.
Well, if it's any relief, I'm incredibly excited about it, and I don't
I-
think the game's broken.
I'm
So-
pretty excited about it, and my closing statement: Red Horizon.
Red Horizon. I can get over this. If I could get over them printing cancel over and over and over again and forcing it making good in Magic, I can get over playing Red Horizon for another 8 months to a year.
I don't want to be that long.
I'll just
Maybe.
be sad when base KOF goes.
Nah.
You'll just have to.
R.I.P.
You need to play. You need to play the throw it down, not over yet, Terry 2 deck.
I thought about that. I've been toying with it, and with Playboy and being able to pick stuff up, so much value.
That I played against that at Worlds. That was actually, if I did not have Lion Stance, which I don't have anymore, that was a terrifying deck.
Well, you get to play, what the hell is it called? The J Talbane, destroy +4/+4
Breaking
for
limits.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get to breaking limits with Champion of Southtown. It's godlike. So much damage.
That's almost as dreamy as the quintuple prototype plays with Earth Dimitri.
Truth.
Oh man.
You're not
Well,
wrong.
that just says you're only doing your first attack, right?
Yes. So if you have
Oh,
Ruby in
shit.
your staging area, you pop cheerful and friendly and move it down.
Oh shit. The team.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going in on this. I'm gonna do this
All right.
one of these days.
If we don't stop these
No,
people,
Dr.
they'll be going all
Kozak.
night.
Dr.
So
Kozak can do this. Holy shit.
Cossack can do this too. That's what I've been trying to tell you with Zing. He's godlike. If you don't have a perfect block or
Cossack
phobia,
Buster.
all right,
Exactly.
You
guys.
can't even
dead.
perfect block. You
Guys,
can't even perfect block.
you'll be going all night at this rate.
You're done.
Jesse, do you have any closing statements for the night?
Kevin is blown
Uh,
away.
that Jade Empire is now available on Origins online services, and I'm about to go download that.
Oh,
free.
really?
No, go download
Ooh,
Ruby
that'd
and
be
play with
fun.
me.
Too late for Ruby. I'll get to
Tim.
that later.
You got any closing statements?
Not in particular. I mean, it's going to be a more fun next 3 months than it was going to be otherwise.
I'll agree with that.
I'm going to continue looking forward to Indine's in the meantime, but I need to go dust off some boxes, probably look into whether or not I can make it to Worlds or not, that sort of thing.
Mhm. I mean, I regret giving up my voucher back to Sean because I kind of do want to go, but too many things to pay for and Comic-Con looming. So I will miss everyone at Worlds. Any other last closing statements, Joe? Kevin doesn't get
I've
one
said
because
my
he'll go
piece
forever.
already.
Kevin will go forever talking about decks. So
Play
It's
Turbo.
too damn good.
It's too damn good. Play Turbo. When you guys see the stuff that's coming, you're gonna be like, "Oh my god!"
all right. Thank you everyone for joining for this 2-hour plus long talk extravaganza. Jason, Tim, Miles, thank you very much for joining us for our special Total Justice Heroes. Maybe this will come back again one day. Anytime there's a major event, we could do it again. Because this was fun.
Let's do it for set
Yeah,
reviews. 18-hour set reviews with 7 people on it.
Hail Hydra.
I'll buy it for $1.
All right. Well, good night, chat. Thank you for watching us. We'll see you all later. I will be posting lots of things.